To call to order this meeting of the First Five Sacramento Commission for Monday, December 4th, 2017. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll and establish a quorum? Here.
Fantastic. Terrence Jones.
Here.
Olivia Casteri.
Here.
Paul Lane. Scott Oak. Donna Sneringer.
Here.
Steve Wirtz.
Here.
Lee Turner Johnson.
Here.
Kathy Kosick.
Here.
Terry Porter. Christina Elliott.
Here.
Patrick Kennedy. Phil Cerna. We have
Here.
a quorum. And with Beth Hassett out today, Steve Wirtz will be voting in her place. And Scott Moak is out, so Christina Elliott will be voting in his place. This meeting of the First Five Sacramento Commission is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T UVerse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will be repeated Friday, December 8th at noon on Channel 14. Members of the audience wishing to address the commission may sign a speaker slip at the kiosk located in the back of the room. Please include the agenda item number that you wish to address and then bring the completed form to me. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the commission and state your name for the record. If you have any electronic devices, please put them on silent or turn off now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sneringer, will you do us the honor of leading us in the pledge today?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, again, I'd like to welcome everyone today to today's First Five Commission, the last one of 2017. We've got a good crowd here. And again, just as a friendly reminder, we do invite everyone to address the commission on any item that's on the agenda or any item that is not on the agenda. We only ask that you please complete a speaker slip. They're located at the back of chambers, and complete that and give it to our clerk, and we'll call you up in the order that we receive them. We do ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes so that everyone can address the commission if they so choose. So with that, our first item, please.
Consent items 1 and 2 are on the agenda today for the board's approval.
Okay, any commissioner wish to pull either items 1 or 2 off for separate vote or discussion? If not, I entertain a motion.
I move.
Moved by Commissioner Wirtz, second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor? Aye. Opposed,
Aye.
abstain, motion carries. Very good, thank you.
Public comments on non-agenda items.
Okay, this is the public's opportunity to address the commission on any item that's not on our agenda. I'm not in receipt of any speaker slips, nor do I see anyone approaching the podium. Therefore, I will conclude that no one wants to address the commission on items not on the agenda. Next item, please.
Executive Director's Report.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. There's a lot of great stuff happening at the Commission, much of which is highlighted in the Executive Director's Report. So I'm just going to focus on 4 things today to share. First, I wanted to give you a little bit of background about something that the First Five Association, First Five California, and all 58 counties are working on. It's called the Network Strategy. I've included a little bit of background in your Executive Director's Report. We recently had a staff summit. This is our annual summit. 3 staff from First Five Sacramento attended, and it was a really different summit. We did focused only on one thing for the entire 3 days, and that was bringing everybody up to date on what our new network strategy is. So we did sort of a big reveal to the First Five staff, and then in 2018 we'll be sort of sharing it with all of our commissions. Because I'm on the board of directors of the association, I've been sort of working with them on this for the last 9 months, meeting with leadership at the association and First Five California. And it's really to help First Five message better about who we are and what we do and what our value is in California as a whole. So it sort of changes the way we talk about First Five. Instead of highlighting that we're 58 counties all doing unique, wonderful things for kids, it's sort of like, what can we say that we all together do, and that brings us more influence, and we really need that influence and our value to be seen as our funding is decreasing. And we've been left out of conversations at the state level around ballot initiatives, around legislative agendas. And so this is an effort across all 59 counties and the association to come to a common meeting ground on language, policy priorities, and just the way we talk about what First Five is. So I will prepare a full sort of PowerPoint presentation for you all after the new year, but wanted to give you some information as background, so more to come. First Five California has a new contract they just approved last month with Supply Bank, and they're going to provide baby hygiene kits through family resource centers and WIC sites in 8 pilot counties in the state, and I'm happy to say that Sacramento is one of those 8 pilot counties. So a handful of our FRC and WIC sites have been selected to start initially. The launch will happen in 2018, and what's really cool too is that they've branded the diapers and wipes with the talk, read, sing messaging from First Five California's media campaign. So neat. A couple updates on SAC Healthy Baby campaign. There's lots of activity happening recently. First, we have our Pride and Joy Baby Shower, our annual event this year, February 24th from 11 to 2 at the Pinnell Center. So we're going a much bigger venue this year. We can have even more community partners attend and space for more women and their families. We were really cramped at the last event. Also, our stress campaign, which you have all seen, which targets African American women with a message on how to reduce stress during pregnancy. It recently, we ran an award from the Public Relations Society of America. We're really proud of that campaign, and I think it's just a great additional tool in addition to all of our direct programming services that you're going to hear about today. It's also nice to be able to have that outreach avenue as well. My last update is a staffing update. So after about a year with no changes in our staffing, we now have a couple shifts coming up for 2018. Julie Byers, who is our longest standing staff member, will retire on January 5th. Some of her work will be redistributed to current staff, and then about 25% of her work will be shared with our newest employee, Christina Clinton. She'll be working for us 25% time, and for Dr. Kassirier in public health on the Every Smile Counts program, 75% of time. I thought maybe Christina is here. Do you want to stand up and just, so they can put a face and a name together? Yay. You know that all of the staff for the Every Smile Counts program are actually housed at First Five, so it's just a really wonderful partnership and connection, and we're so happy with the way that that's turned out. I would like to take the last couple of minutes of my ED report to acknowledge Julie Byers. And Julie, would you join me, there she is, at the podium to accept an award of appreciation, please. So, Julie, is this on?
No.
Now it is.
Hello, hello? Yeah, better? Okay, I'll work on this one. Julie has 31 years of government service between 3 agencies. She's worked at the City of San Jose, Placer County, and Sacramento County. She's been at First Five since 2003, initially as a contract analyst for 4 years, and then she promoted up to the program planner position. She's been there for the last decade. Her first work as a planner was to coordinate our community building initiative grants, and then she moved into oral health. where she staffs our McDAC group, monitors the oral health contracts, and oversees capital projects, which include fluoridation and the expansion of our community dental clinics. What I really appreciate the most about Julie is her wicked sense of humor. She's a very funny lady. She has mad editing skills, so she's definitely our go-to person for all publications to check out. And I really do appreciate her deep concern for the environment. It's a little-known fact that Julie actually established our recycling program at the commission offices years ago, I think. Yes. So without further ado, I would like to give her the Certificate of Recognition awarded to Julie Byers in acknowledgement of her 14 years of service to the First Five Sacramento Children and Families Commission and her contribution towards supporting the healthy development of children ages 0 to 5, the empowerment of families, and the strengthening of communities. And we wish you well in your retirement.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to say a few words?
Yeah. Okay. I'll say a couple things. Sure. Give me an audience, of course. So my first thank you and actual recognition is to my brother and my sister-in-law who are here. They were the ones who encouraged me to consider Sacramento County as a great place to work. And so back in 1999, and which eventually led to coming to Sacramento County in 2000 initially, and then eventually over at DHA, and then eventually with First Five Sacramento. And so thank you very much for all that good work years ago. So and also thank the Commission for, it's been fun being a relative term over the years, to see how the Commission operated, to see the different changes in the personalities and the people, the personalities, and how it all worked. Some of y'all have been here, from the beginning, and so that's been really an impressive thing. This Commission does so much good work in the community. I appreciate your continued vision for children and families, for how we need to be a part of the larger community and how to make this world, our county, and actually our little piece of the world as our children grow and go out into the state and on the communities in the world, and making that a better place. So also thanks to staff, because nobody does it alone. It's always been great support. And then, of course, I'd like to thank all the providers, because without you guys doing the work, we would just be sitting up here talking to ourselves. And so definitely want to thank all the providers for the work that they have done over the years and that they continue to do over the years. So yeah, so I'm going to retire, but I'm not bailing on the county, the larger county. County employment, yes, but the larger county, I'll be hanging out for a while. I'm hoping to continue to be involved in dental advocacy in some form or another. Not sure what form that will take. And yeah, I think you all have my cell phone number,
Yeah.
It's my work phone number, and that's my personal cell phone number, so you can certainly, give me a ring, ask me a question, go to coffee, whatever seems to work out. So, good, thank you.
Thank you very much, Julie.
Okay. Can we do a picture?
Commissioner Jones and Dr. Kasiri.
First of all, I want to congratulate Julie on her retirement. It's a big deal, and it's well-deserved. I'm very grateful that I had the privilege of working with Julie for many years, and I think she did a terrific job as our oral health program director. Julie always recognized the importance of oral health in a child's development, and her involvement, I think, made a real difference in for those kids and for our community. In my mind, her achievements are so tied to the accomplishments of the First Five Oral Health. During her service, our funding provided 5 new dental clinics, 23 new pediatric dental chairs, and allowed us to bring oral health to thousands of children. We also expanded water fluoridation. We focused our services on community-based settings and with mobile dental screenings at low-income preschools. We emphasized parent education and the importance of early dental care. We also funded influential study on Medi-Cal dental, low Medi-Cal dental utilization rates that resulted in a community-wide oral health movement that ultimately resulted in the formation of MCDAC. And with her dedication, that advisory committee continues to make improvements to the managed care system so that it better serves all our children here in the county. I think Julie had a keen interest in improving oral health access for children and adults with special needs. And I think she worked hard to break down the barriers that this population experienced, and she made significant improvements in that area. I think Julie is particularly skilled in dwelling on the details of fluoridation contracts or construction plans, and she was determined that all those details are clearly articulated and understood by all parties that were involved in this discussion, so that the end results, I think, improved the lives and were welcomed by all the parties. Working with her on MCDAC, Julie was a mixture, I think, of county council and parliamentarian, and keeping the meeting and this particular chair in line, on track, making sure that an often large and rowdy crowd followed the clear process and reached consensus. It was my pleasure, and it is my pleasure, to congratulate Julie on a wonderful career and offer her my best wishes on the next phase. Thank you for your service, and to our community, you will be missed.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jones.
Dr. Kasiri?
On behalf of Public Health, I also wanted to congratulate Julie on her retirement. It's been a great pleasure working with you, especially on MCDAC. The board letter process, difficult as it is, you were very patient in making sure that you put in all the details and did all the revisions that were needed, and actually also going over to the state to talk to the state about the different concerns that we had concerning oral health. And I just appreciate your commitment to public health and to oral health specifically, and to the children in Sacramento County. I wish you all the best, and I hope you get to enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Dr. Kasiri. Okay.
Any other comments? I'll just add my thanks for your public service, Julie. I know that all of us, in addition to the very articulate comments by Dr. Jones, share those sentiments about your contribution to this commission, and certainly, as was referenced in Julie's introduction, your broader public service to multiple jurisdictions is not lost on us. So thank you for all your years of dedicated attention to what's in the public's best interest.
Thank you very much. It's been fun and interesting.
Enjoy your retirement.
Thank you. Great, thanks.
Does that conclude your ED report?
That does.
Okay, very good. Any questions for Julie on the balance of her report? Okay, if not, then we'll go on to the next item, please.
Advisory Committee update.
Okay.
Good afternoon to all today.
Afternoon.
Tough act to follow, huh, following that. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about our November advisory board meeting.
Who are you?
I thought you guys knew by now. Robert Silva. I am the chair of the advisory board.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to talk a little bit. First, of course, we had our mindfulness moment that we have each month that sort of sets the tones of our meeting. I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly what it was this month. I think it was recalling a pleasant experience or something like that. So it worked, so that was a good thing. With Julie's report, we watched the first 5 Real Moments videos. Of course, they were really great. We felt like they hit their target populations. When Aaron was discussing it, one of our members had asked if there was statistics of who viewed these videos and how many. And so Aaron has graciously stated she would get us that information sometime in the near future. We were just sort of curious what populations they're going to. We talked about a little bit of the implementation of the Community Connections grants. Julie updated us that 21 requests have come out, and my understanding is 11 will be, obviously by the audience today, 11 are going to be selected, so that's very exciting. And she was also discussing that they would be holding conferences and review panels for possible applicants and agencies coming up. And I guess that they're going to be returned by January, the documents, so we're very excited about that. We had a lot of interest in the policy platform. It was, understanding is, I was here at that meeting, was presented to the commission at the November meeting, and that there were some possible suggestions, some changes that came back to the sustainability committee, which unfortunately I was not part of this month, but I'm sure you did a wonderful job, and look very forward to hearing from them. And then we talked a little bit, not briefly, about the long-range calendar, and Julie made it very clear that this was a living document. In other words, it's going to change. And maybe not drastically, but let's not look at everything as it's just cemented in, that there's going to be some changes over the course of time. We had a really good presentation on the Community Connections Grant Program, talking about its goals, which simplifies the contract process with community group leaders. We talked about eligibility, that it is for community groups of 3, not for agencies and schools and organizations. This is truly a community grant to get communities involved with each other. The committee was really impressed with what the CPAC provides to applicants. They talked about technical assistance, meetings, orientation, support meetings. We thought that this is something that's going to make these grants successful, and you're just not out there on a limb, that you've got some support along with it. We talked a little bit about the success of the Community Connection grants, and that was really important to us. Just briefly, which you probably already know, 88% of parents reported that they benefited from the grants. All families but one plan to stay connected with other participants. Families felt less isolated and more empowered, and in these times that's really important, and had a desire to volunteer and get more involved in other groups in their communities, which I think was probably the goal of the grants in the first place. Let's get you started and keep you going. We discussed expansion strategies about branching out to at low-income housing sites and to bring the information to families where they live, so it's sort of tenant-driven. It's not coming through an agency, we're going directly to them. Last but not least, we had a really good discussion under our comments about the new Afghan community immigrants that are coming in. There's over 5,000 immigrants that have come into Sacramento County. So we had made a request, or I had made a request to maybe have a speaker come to discuss the immigration, and we had suggested probably, since the Sacramento Food Bank does a lot in this area, and they actually have immigration lawyers on staff, to see if they would come out and give us a presentation on it and see if our services maybe blend in some way or we can provide some services. So that's it. Is there any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Silva?
No? All right. Thank you, and I will not see you till next year, so everybody have a happy holiday.
You too. Thank you. Okay, next item, please.
Evaluation Committee update.
Thank you. I was waiting for approval. I believe we reported on our last meeting at the previous board meeting. So the one thing I'm going to just add is that we had a chance from staff to review the documents that you'll be seeing later and getting some input into that process. So I think you'll hear about that more later. Other than that, we have a new set of dates for our meetings. We have a full contingent of members, and we're ready to keep our work going.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for Commissioner Wirtz? If not, next item, please.
Financial Planning Committee update.
We have not met since the last report.
Okay. Next item, please.
Sustainability Committee update.
The Sustainability Committee met on the 21st of November, which seems like a year ago at this point. And we reviewed and amended, based on the Commission's comments, the policy document which you approved as part of your consent calendar today. We also did review with Julie the network strategy that she discussed in her Executive Committee report about the statewide efforts around First Five messaging. And we talked a bit about the year ahead, looking at different policy issues and funding issues that may come up at the state and local level. So our next meeting is in February, and we will report back after that.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. Next item, please.
Approve Community Connection Grants Round 4. And I just wanted to add that Terry Porter will be voting for Paul Lake.
Great, thank you.
Fantastic. We have Alejandra Labrada will be handling this agenda item for us.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Today I'd like to provide you with...
Do we have your mic?
Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. Good afternoon. Today I'd like to present you with an update on the Community Connections Grant and the program, and I would also like to present you with the grantees that are being recommended for funding today. In addition, we do have a couple of group leaders from a current grant who would like to share how their First Five grant has impacted children in their community. So first of all, rounds 1 and 2 have completed their funding terms. We're happy to say that the majority of them continue to meet. There was an end-of-term participant survey, and ASR also did follow-up interviews about 3 to 6 months after the term of each project. So far, we're very happy with the preliminary results. Robert Silva shared some of those, and that a lot of these, actually most of these parents had reported to have made new friends and to have learned about connections in their community, other resources, which is exactly what these grants are all about. So we were very happy about those. And a final report of the surveys and the interviews by ASR will be presented in the spring. The third round of grantees are midway through their term and they're doing great. And the fourth I will present shortly. All groups continue to receive support, technical assistance, and monitoring by First Five, CAPC, the fiscal agent, their sponsoring agency, as well as Lead for Tomorrow. Lead for Tomorrow continues to provide skills enhancement training to group leaders, such as community engagement and learning about trauma in their communities. 4 family Hui parent support groups have been initiated through Lead for Tomorrow. One of the groups is in Rancho Cordova with Afghan families, another in a Spanish-speaking group in Isleton, and 2 are underway in the Oak Park community through a collaboration with the Sacramento Food Bank. One is in Spanish and the other is in Farsi. Many groups have not used all of their funding, but for good reasons. That's because they're requesting donations or because their sponsoring agency has been extremely supportive. So that gives some opportunity to expand this program, which is a good thing. With the input of a CCG work group, including some of the commissioners here today, we talked about expanding the program to low-income housing complexes to bring this opportunity to families right where they live. That was the intention of this group when we were starting it, is getting hard to reach families involved and break that cycle of isolation. So we would like to pilot 2 to 3 sites in the springtime, so stay tuned for that. We hope that that will bring us good results, and we're working with those meetings to get those done. As far as round 4, 13 proposals were received. 11 received a passing score and are being recommended today for consideration. The 2 that did not receive a passing score have been invited to reapply with some feedback from the review committee. You all have a chart in front of you with information related to these grants, so you can follow along. At this time, I'd like to introduce each group and ask them to stand. Before I do that, do you have any questions?
Any questions for Alejandra? Mr. Jones?
Okay, great. No? Yes? Okay.
Actually, I don't have a question. I just have a compliment. I was very impressed, and I'm sure the people in the audience will attest to that, but just looking at the list of people in our attachment for the round 4 applications, going back to what Robert mentioned in his advisory committee report, you have an Afghan mom support group, you have autistic children, African American, Latino children, Muslim women, and the Eritrean community. I didn't actually realize that we had a support group for Eritrean. I just compliment you on the wealth not only of the locations and geographic areas that we're trying to reach, but also the people that we're reaching out to and impacting. So my compliments.
Thank you.
Good comments. I did have one question on page 3 of the staff report, and you just mentioned it, Alejandra, the fact that of those that are not being recommended for funding, you're providing feedback. Presumably that's about their strengths and weaknesses in their proposals?
Yes, and absolutely. That is actually even provided before the application is due. I offer technical assistance and feedback. Some of them take that offer, others don't. And so there was just some items that were very unclear, and we provide that feedback to them.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I believe you were going to introduce the organizations, right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Okay, the first group I'd like to introduce is the Afghan Mom Support Group. The sponsoring agency is the Sacramento Food Bank. These activities will include story time with the focus on family literacy, arts and crafts, guest presenters that will give the moms resources to help them acclimate to living in Sacramento.
Very good.
The next group is the Autism Music Play Group. The sponsoring agency is the North Natomas Library. Families with autistic children will participate in a rhythmic play group. Through music therapy, children will improve language comprehension, social skills, and cognitive function. The next group is a Black Mothers Club for Healthy Babies. The sponsoring agency is the Sacramento Breastfeeding Coalition. African American mothers will get mentoring on how to successfully breastfeed and how to provide education to family members who can help encourage and support breastfeeding in their community. The next group is the Del Paso Heights Playdates for Kids. The sponsoring agency is the Pacific Housing Incorporated and Mutual Assistance Network. Group leaders representing different cultures will hold playdates where families in the neighborhood can learn about each other's cultures. All activities will include music, play, story time, cooking, and gardening. The next group is the Read, Play, Sing, or Leer, Jugar y Cantar. The sponsoring agency is Benito Juarez Neighborhood Association. I'm not sure if they made it today. No?
We're going to give them a hand.
Okay, we'll give them a hand anyway. This group encourages bilingual, bicultural literacy with Latino children to prepare them for school. They will use nursery songs, books, dance, music, and board games, all led by parents. The next group I had incorrectly labeled as the Muslims United Sister Circle. The correct group name is Muslimas United Sister Circle, so I apologize for that. This group is of Muslim women from various ethnic backgrounds. They will bond with their children through education, communication, literacy, story time, and craft projects. They will also have the opportunity to learn about different topics that will foster their social and emotional well-being as parents. The next group is My Child's Keeper, and we're working on a sponsoring agency that will be a good fit for their community. This group would like to reduce isolation and create a space where the Eritrean community can come together as they raise their young children in this country. They will do various school readiness activities in English and in their native language of Tigrinya. The next group is Project Twinkle. We are also working with them to get a sponsoring agency. This is in the South Sacramento, Fort Ridge, Stockton area. Here we go. Parents at the Greenway Village apartment complex in South Sacramento will gather to learn about the benefits of circle time and connect with other families in their community. This will include songs, story time, ABCs, counting, and arts and crafts. The next group is Our Babies Are Us. The sponsoring agency is once again the Mutual Assistance Network. This group will combat unhealthy lifestyles and emotional trauma through teaching their children about healthy living. Sessions will be filled with interactive and engaging fitness and nutrition activities for parents to do with their children. The next group is the Sacramento Pouch Project. The sponsoring agency is the Valley High Family Resource Center. This group wants to spread the knowledge and practice of baby wearing to parents, and if you haven't noticed, one of the group leaders is a baby wearing right now. She just had a baby 8 days ago.
Wow.
Oh, a couple of them were. They would like to spread the knowledge and practice of baby wearing to parents who otherwise could not afford it, to promote parent-child bonding. Each meeting will include a baby wearing activity designed to bond, such as eye contact, breastfeeding, dancing, or reading to their child. And the last group is Tigers on the Move. The sponsoring agency is the First 5 FRC in Walnut Grove. This group wants to bring fun and healthy activities to Isleton, where many families are isolated from family-friendly fitness activities. They will engage in parent-child dance moves and physical fitness activities, as well as health topics that impact young children. Before you approve, which I hope you would approve the funding for these groups, I would like to invite group leaders from our current grantees. It's Ariel Walker and Valerie Lujan. They are the group leaders of the group BAO, which stands for Baby Art Your Heart Out.
Hi. Is this on? Okay.
It is.
I'm Aria Walker, and this is Valerie Lujan. We're both moms of children on the autism spectrum. I have 2 boys. One is 5 and one is 3. Both have autism.
I have a 9-year-old.
A 9-year-old. Our sons go to school together, and we also were in a group called Mama Art Your Heart Out, which I also started as a support group for moms with kids with autism, and we do art therapy. Through this group, we met, and we decided to do Baby Art Your Heart Out, and it has been an amazing journey, and thank you all for accepting us as one of the grantees. We saw a need for the group for art, play, and for families to get together and just have activities that were specifically designed for kids on the spectrum. There's various things like lighting and sound that bother our kiddos, and so we wanted to design a really creative and safe environment for the kids and the families. We have partnered with amazing people. The Sylvan Oaks Library, A Community for Peace was our sponsor. Gave us a beautiful space. New Songs, which is a new sponsor that we have in Elk Grove. And we also partnered with Sacramento Children's Museum, their program called Explorability, which was a huge hit. We had like 30 families attend this one event and would come up to us and thank us for what we were doing. Donations from Trader Joe's. We have 9 volunteers currently with our group, and they're all from different areas of autism: mothers, service providers, speech therapist, occupational therapist. We have an ABA therapist who also has her BCBA, and they all come and volunteer their time, which is amazing. So we're bringing a lot of these service providers and families together in this one event, and it's amazing. The parents get to talk to the speech therapist. Some of the parents don't have these services already, so something we thought was just art actually became more of a conversation, a bigger conversation about what's available in the community, what their options are, where they can go. Occupational therapy is a really tough one for some of our families to get. And through sensory play, our occupational therapists will work with the parents and teach them how to work with their children when they go home. And the speech therapist will also help them integrate speech into art play and sensory play, which has been amazing to watch. We've had families just come to us just crying and thanking us, and it's been really beautiful. We've actually had an outpouring of people who want to partner with us, and it's been overwhelming. As you can imagine, being parents of kids with special needs, our time is very limited, and so we appreciate all this outpouring, but we have yet to develop more time to do this. So we're taking it 1 month at a time.
Let me know when you find that 25th hour.
We're trying to create the time, like we're creative, but we've so far impacted 30 families total, and that doesn't include all the service providers. And on average, we have about 7 families that attend each event. And that's huge because we've seen parents, mother and father, come, and typically mothers are just involved. And we had one event, all parents were there. All the dads were there. They were bonding, and we were watching them like, this could be a next thing. Like, there's such a lack for, or such a need for fathers to get together and talk about autism. As moms, we always are talking about it, and the dads, they were there and they were asking each other advice. It was amazing. Through art. They were doing the art with the kids. They also bring the siblings. So oftentimes we'll have parents, the kiddo, and 0 to 5, I would say overall we've had about 30 0 to 5 kids, 35 kids, plus their siblings. So you can imagine how big that number can get. We're also, I said the dads. We've also worked with Project SOARS, FEET, ALTA, SCOE, IDP. So one thing we included in our events is resource table. So our table is full. Not only do we have swag items from First 5, we have information about ALTA, different ABA services, different OT services, all of that, some books that we've read. So the resource table is actually one of the big draws. They want to come and see what kind of resources are there. We didn't realize that was such a lack or such a need in other events. So we keep that table. We've also included a table called the Autism Exchange Table, where people can bring stuff like weighted blankets, diapers,
Other sensory
things that are expensive, really expensive, and some of our kiddos have either grown out of it or it didn't work for them. So people bring them and they take a bag and they just take whatever they need. And this holiday event that we're doing, we're actually expanding our table and we're getting donations of brand new stuff to give to the families. So we're really excited about that. We also see an extreme need of sensory exploration. Again, not everybody gets authorized for occupational therapy, but our kiddos need it. And so we end up doing some sort of small sensory circuit in addition to the art play. It's all creative. And the relationships we've built through service providers, therapists, families, I mean, we really have this large community, and the number has gone down to 1 in 48 children have autism. And so we're actually one small, tiny little group, and we realize how big our network could come just from these events. So, yeah.
Great. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there any questions?
Commissioner Elliott?
Just really quickly to the ladies that were up here, for your resource table, I know that financial services for children with autism, the parents of children with autism. That's something that they're thinking about as they plan for the future of their kids. So you might want to think about the California ABLE Act as a resource, special accounts for people with disabilities, and then, get maybe some folks to come in and talk to you about special needs trusts. That's something that I think your folks might be interested in as well. And again, I know that the financial future of your children is something you guys think about all the time. So I just thought I'd add those two resources for you.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Wirtz?
Just a quick comment. Also, I wanted to acknowledge and congratulate you on this great work of reaching out. And I just really sort of want to highlight that this is something that First Five strives to do through all of its service systems. But I think this just highlights the value of having community members solving your own problems and working together to do this. And so I just think for this little amount of money, we have you doing this incredible amount of work and support for families. So I just want to thank you and just highlight the value of this kind of grassroots community engagement. And I think it's really the long-term solution is having us all be committed to the same level of support for our children and families. So thank you.
Commissioner Jones?
I just want to echo what Steve is saying and congratulate that presentation that we were just given. I think really reassures the commissioners, and I think the community should at least, that these projects are parent-driven, they're focused, and I think that we see in this just brief presentation, which I think was very articulate, that it was able to generate larger areas of social capital. And so I congratulate you, and I think that's a big bar for all of the current applicants to do. And if you succeed anywhere close, we'll be grateful for your efforts. Thank you.
Commissioner Gordon?
Thank you. I too want to commend you, and I also want to make the offer to sit down with you and let you know how we can help you rather than people asking you to help them. I think there are many things we can do to support the terrific work that you're doing. So before you go, let's get phone numbers and we'll follow through.
Okay.
The total amount of funding for these community grants is up to $50,245, and these funds have already been allocated to the fiscal agent. So at this time, we're requesting approval for funding for these grants.
I'm happy to move the item.
It's been moved by Commissioner Gordon, seconded by Commissioner Elliott. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Paul Lake's here now, so he'll be voting instead of Jerry Porter.
Paul Lake is here.
Dave Gordon?
Aye.
Steve Wirtz?
Aye.
Terrence Jones?
Aye.
Olivia Kassiri?
Aye.
Paul Lake?
Aye.
Christina Elliott?
Aye.
Phil Cerna?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Congratulations. Okay, next item, please.
Public hearing, review and adopt the First Five Sacramento audit for fiscal year 2016-17.
Let's take a moment and let the room clear. Okay. Go ahead.
I can start?
Who's going?
I'll start first.
Okay.
Guaranteed to be less exciting than the last presentation. Sorry, Carly. Before you today, we are holding a public hearing for the review and adoption of our fiscal year 16-17 fiscal audit. And we have invited Carly Ransom from VTD to give a brief overview of the highlights of that audit and then ask for your approval.
Okay, hello, my name is Carly Ransom. I'm with Vavrinick Trine Day & Co. So we are the external auditors who perform the financial statement audit for the Commission for fiscal year 2017. So at the end of the audit, we'll issue our reports which summarize the outcome and the scope of the audit. So what I was going to do today is just briefly go through our audit reports and the results of the audit for fiscal year 2017. So if you look in the Commission's financial statement package on page 1, the independent auditor's report. So this is our report that we issue at the end of the audit. As noted in the report, management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. And our responsibility is really to perform tests and procedures and gather evidence to issue an opinion on those financial statements. So if you look down to the opinion paragraph, this is really the conclusion. So it says that, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position. So basically that means that we've issued a clean audit report on the Commission's financial statements, and there was no findings noted for fiscal year 2017. Another report I wanted to call out was on page 29. So this is our report on internal controls over financial reporting. So as part of our audit, we do assess internal controls at the Commission. We don't give an opinion on internal controls. However, if there was any deficiencies noted, they would be included in this report. So as you read through the report, you'll see that there was no deficiencies noted. So we didn't have any issues with the internal controls at the Commission. So the audit went very smoothly. As you can see, there was no findings. I can answer any questions specific to the audits, but we'd like to thank the Commission for all their help and effort in getting all the documentation that we needed to perform the audits.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Elliott?
I just was curious, is this the first time this firm has done our audit? It's been the firm we've used for several years?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Commissioner Wirtz?
Just a quick question. I assume the Finance Committee has been reviewing this over time?
Yes, we were presented this in our last meeting.
Okay, any other questions? All right, don't have any speaker slips on this item. Therefore, to entertain a motion by voting members. Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Jones.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gordon. Roll call vote, please.
Dave Gordon,
Aye.
Steve Wirtz,
Sorry, aye.
Terrence Jones,
Aye.
Olivia Kassiri,
Aye.
Paul Lake,
Aye.
Christina Elliott,
Aye.
Phil Cerna.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Very good, thank you. Okay, next item, please.
Presentation on the efforts to reduce African American child deaths.
Okay.
Fantastic. We have Linda Fong-Samara leading this item for us today.
Great.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We are excited to bring you a very informative presentation today regarding an annual update on our efforts to reduce African American child deaths. I'm just starting off with a very brief introduction and overview, and you're going to hear more from our partners today, and they're going to give you more in-depth information. So just to start off, our goal for today is actually to provide you with an update on our efforts within the last fiscal year. So that's fiscal year 2016-17. We're going to provide you with some of the program background, challenges, successes, and in addition, as you can see from the crowd, some client feedback. Rather than starting with a micro-level piece of information first, we're going to start with the broadest piece of information first, and we're going to provide you with a presentation from the Black Child Legacy Campaign, just to show you what's happening at a county-wide level to address the 4 top causes of disproportionate African American child deaths. From there, we're going to drill down and focus specifically on the areas that First have Sacramento funds, and although we fund 3 of the top 4 causes of death, perinatal condition deaths, infant sleep-related deaths, and child abuse and neglect, we're going to focus just on perinatal and infant safe sleep efforts funded by the Commission. And then the presenters today will include LPC. They're going to provide you with program level data and outcome data. RSE, Runyon Saltzman, they're also going to present as a part of LPC. We'll also hear from Child Abuse Prevention Council to speak about the Infant Safe Sleep Education Campaign, also known as Safe Sleep Baby. We'll hear from WellSpace Health and the Center for Community Health and Wellbeing to talk about the cultural broker programs and all the work that they are doing to work with pregnant women in the community. And the reason why we structured it this way is to kind of give you that macro level picture and then to drill down with some of the data that we have from 2016-17, and then to follow that with program presentations to give you more information and context to those numbers. So that's what we have in store for you today. Before we begin, just to give you a reminder that we are a part of a larger countywide effort, and to help you understand how we fit into that countywide effort. So you'll hear BCLC a lot, Black Child Legacy Campaign. It also used to be known as the Steering Committee on the Reduction of African American Child Deaths. In this countywide effort, we're a piece of the movement. We have been pulled together in response to the Blue Ribbon Commission report and all the data in that report. So this is the next phase to all of that work. And we are part of that movement to reduce African American child deaths by 10 to 20% by 2020. And it definitely requires a county-wide effort. As you'll see and as you'll hear, there are county partners involved in this effort, from DHHS, DHA, CPS, probation, and First 5, all the way to faith-based community leaders and community partners as well. It definitely requires that whole entire village to make a bend in the curve. Individually and collaboratively, all of these partners in this effort, we definitely work together and we support and inform each other. We're sharing information about our programs, we're providing feedback on all the services, and definitely working to get families the help and support that they need in our community. When we joined this community-wide effort, starting in 2012 and 2013, we were part of Blue Ribbon Commission, and we started looking over the data with many, many other partners. And when we joined this effort, we knew that it would be a long-term effort. We knew it would be a very conscious effort that required a lot of continuity, it required a lot of organization, and certainly it also required some sustained funding. So this is just a graphic to show different roles and partners in the community that are actively involved in the effort and also funding that effort as well. A part of the process has been recognizing, as I mentioned, the need for continuity in the effort and organization. And that is the very reason why the Commission, as well as the county, has put funding forward to provide for staff support, to keep that ball rolling and to keep the momentum moving forward. So we are funding the Sierra Health Foundation as the backbone organization and funding that staff support to do all of that important organizing and coordinating. So again, this is just a really brief graphic to show some of the different partners and the funding that's being contributed. And this is not inclusive of everybody and all of their efforts. Any questions before we move forward? Okay, well, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Natalie Woods-Andrews. She's the co-chair of the Black Child Legacy Campaign, and Kendra Montgomery Block, who is a program officer at Sierra Health Foundation. And if we could please cue up the video. Thank you.
that we're not only investing, but also being able to really measure our success and measure it appropriately, so that we understand the investments we're making, and we also understand that we may reap those investments, not just in this next generation, but in the generation after that. That's the important thing.
I don't know how it was in Schuler, but I bet you in Sacramento there were a number of issues that are causing our children to cry out, "My head! My head!" If you're gonna raise up dead children and dead babies who are suffering with generations of trauma and violence, you're gonna have to stretch yourself beyond what you're used to. You gotta stretch. You gotta stretch till it's a point of sacrifice. You gotta stretch with your time, and stretch with your energy, and stretch with your money, and stretch with your resources, and stretch with your space. You gotta stretch.
Well, thank you so much, Commissioner Cerna, Chair, and the commissioners as well. We thank you so much for stretching, as you've heard our speaker say, stretching on behalf of Sacramento County's children and families, because it is all about making that sacrifice in terms of doing what's right for our young children and our families. So we thank you for your commitment. We thank you for your support in funding the Steering Committee on Reduction of African American Child Deaths, which has launched the Black Child Legacy Campaign. We also just want to say a heartfelt thank you to Julie Galelo and Linda Fong for just your ongoing advocacy and your support, your participation in the Steering Committee activities. Thank you again. This has been a phenomenal opportunity for us to truly make a difference and an impact in Sacramento County. And while our co-chair, Chet Hewitt, is unable to be here today, I stand here in front of you as part of a movement that really engages and involves and empowers hundreds of individuals throughout Sacramento County to make this difference. Kendra Montgomery Black, she is a phenomenal leader in the community and really has truly helped to just spearhead this movement, so I am proud to just stand here before you as well. We want to just move forward with sharing with you some of the impactful work that is happening here in Sacramento County. So Kendra is going to share with you just the heart of the work, and then I'll come back and summarize.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Commission. Again, it's my honor to stand before you on the shoulders of a lot of great people in this community, a lot of awesome people that have taken up this challenge to really think about and create ways that we can have impact on the most disproportionate deaths that are happening in our county. I want to be able to go through with you. Last time we came here, we said, we're going to build this infrastructure. We're going to build this infrastructure. And again, today I stand before you saying we have absolutely built the cornerstones of what it takes in these 7 communities to actually stand and create a different way of providing services where it's needed the most. Could we have the next slide? Oh, I got to do it. My bad. All right, I didn't know. And on this particular slide, what you see is our opportunity to create shared leadership amongst many different groups. And so at the top here, our goal set before us by you all and the Board of Supervisors is to reduce African American child deaths by 10 to 20% by the year 2020. We know that the Steering Committee cannot do that alone. So what we have created is a plan that brings in a lot of folks across a lot of different efforts to really share that leadership, that accountability, and that responsibility. And so at the top there, you will see that the community incubator leads and the multidisciplinary teams, again, the co-location of services, changing the absolute way that we provide services inside of those neighborhoods to those families that need it the most. The Steering Committee on the Reduction of African American Child Deaths, that 27-member currently group of experts from all across our county that has put not only their kind of career reputations on the line, but provided that thought leadership on what could we do as a community. Again, the Steering Committee on Reduction of African American Child Deaths has not gone away. The Black Child Legacy Campaign acts as our public campaign arm, but the Steering Committee, the thought leadership, still comes from those 27 members that was appointed by the Board of Supervisors And again, thanks to First Five, that is funding the backbone effort of all of those leaders, as well as the commitment by the foundation. And then you'll see on the right-hand side, the group of community leadership roundtables, powerful grassroots support. So not only do we have these thought leaders that are about experts in their careers, but we have folks that have community navigation on the ground, that have volunteered their time and their opportunity to what's going on in that neighborhood and how can we make sure that these services are not only accountable, but actually meet what needs to happen in that neighborhood. And so those volunteers are supporting us as well. And then trying to make sure that everybody's boat rises at the same time and providing that capacity and that growth through our Technical Assistance Resource Center, where we have Profound Purpose Institutes, where we're able to build the capacity, the ability, and the skills of folks on the ground to do this work better, stronger, and more collectively. This is a movement. We are targeting, again, the disproportionate deaths of African American children, but we are universal on our approach. And any one of those 7 CILs, those community incubator leads, anyone can walk in that door and get the services they need to be able to support and lift their family out of crisis. You'll see that we're, again, on those 4 issue areas, have not moved off of those: the perinatal conditions, infant sleep-related deaths, child abuse and neglect, and third-party homicide. We have 7 neighborhoods, again, that are providing those cornerstone support in our Arcade, Del Paso Heights, North Sacramento, Foothill Farms, Fruitridge, Stockton, Meadowview, Oak Park, and Valley High. And we have a few of those representatives here today, but we want to talk to you about our impact.
So this campaign is truly working on building that capacity within our communities. And so we have intentionally co-located services. And as you've heard Kendra mention, we're bringing together community incubator leads to truly bring the services into the community. We have heard from many of those who are accessing those services how grateful they are that we have placed these resources in the heart of the community, because it really does mitigate some of the barriers and those who are trying to access those services. So we kind of provide that warm handoff and really help walk individuals through to access those services. We are able to bring together CPS, probation, social services, and we are able to really help them connect to the education arena as well to really access the services that they need right there in the community. At the same time, we're able to provide some wraparound services to our family for that support to help them with those social services and accessing things that they need directly in the community, as well as making sure that they are connected to First Five partners that are providing services directly in the neighborhoods. This work does not happen in isolation, nor does it work in silos. It truly is a partnership within those who are providing services within a hub, within a network in that community. We're creating that network that did not exist before. And so that is a huge part of this movement. The other piece was really building that infrastructure for capacity building. We have a number of individuals who are providing services individually, but this is about how do we continue to sustain this work? How do we continue to just connect on a deeper level so that we're building that awareness in the community, but then also utilizing and leveraging the resources that are available to build that infrastructure. And then finally, this is about building that social justice. It's also about youth development. It is so important that we connect our youth into the work that is happening to really help provide and empower that voice, that collective voice of our youth. So providing those opportunities to really engage. We know that we've had a couple of incidents where there's individuals from the community who are coming directly to those community incubator leads, because it's no secret, the word is out, that if you need to connect and get some assistance and support, you can go to a one-stop shop place to really get that assistance. So we've had individuals who were experiencing homelessness, but at the same time, a brand new baby. Couldn't bring the baby home. You need a place where you can bring your baby. And so just working very closely with our community incubator leads out in the Arden Arcade area specifically, and then also out in the Meadowview area. We've had a couple of different incidents of really helping those brand new moms connect and find a place, find a home, find a place to stay so that they can bring their baby home safely and care for their baby so that we do not have a crisis within their household. In addition, we've been able to make sure that we are really surrounding our families and surrounding our community to support by really building and raising this visibility, using our influence, our support to really invest in the community. This is a community investment. It's targeted, but it's also universal. What's good for these 7 particular targeted neighborhoods is good for all of Sacramento County. These are just promising practices that can manifest into something wonderful for Sacramento County. So we are investing directly into the community with trusted individuals who can connect directly with families. There are situations where you or I would not be able to connect with specific individuals, but we do have some cultural brokers, we do have some trusted individuals and agencies that can make that direct connection to support them. Also, bringing our communities together in solidarity. Again, there's a clear vision in terms of where we want to head and how we want to support families. This brings all of our community partners, our first 5 partners, together, as you'll hear later in this presentation. This is also about education, building that awareness of the 4 leading causes of deaths that are preventable. I can't tell you how many people we run into who keep saying, well, we weren't aware. Well, you know what? Now we're arming you with information, so spread the word. We just conducted a presentation a few weeks ago, and we had the youth stand up here to talk about how they are using their voices because they have learned so much about how they can help prevent deaths in Sacramento County. They're sharing with their siblings, they're sharing with their parents and their family members, and even just their friends who are young parents. That's powerful when you have the young people who are spreading this word and sharing these messages on behalf of the community. And then also just building that infrastructure. We have spent this last year really building in that infrastructure of support to reduce the African American child deaths in Sacramento County. And I'm proud to say that, you know, this has been going on for over 20 years. This is the first time we have this type of innovative infrastructure that is truly making an impact in our community. We do have community incubator leads that are the hubs of each of the 7 targeted neighborhoods. And so if you are here representing a CIL, will you please just stand? Thank you so much. We just want to acknowledge their presence. They are the boots on the ground. They are the ones that's doing the heavy lifting and building those relationships here in our community. So I just thank you for all of your hard work and really making this happen for Sacramento County. And then I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge my counterparts, steering committee members who represent multiple agencies here in Sacramento County. They have devoted tireless, effortless hours to really just come together to talk about and to really plan strategic implementation strategies and approaches on behalf of Sacramento County. So again, to my colleagues on the steering committee, I thank them for all of their hard work. We do have a couple of individuals. Can you want to share something else?
We do have just a couple of the CIL groups that wanted to come and give you all a few stories of their day-to-day. So we have Ray Green and Dominique from the Roberts County Development Center, which is our North Sacramento Del Paso Heights team. And then we also have Miss Jackie Rose and Yolanda Stevens who will come up and talk about the Meadowview work. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, Commission, everybody. So we represent the Del Paso Heights, North Sacramento, CIL, and we just wanted to come here today to say thank you. Thank you for making change possible. Thank you for allowing us to do what we do best, is reaching the community. In Del Paso Heights this past year, we've grown a lot. We're located at the Greater Sacramento Urban League, and there now we're able to actually have people come into the space, and not just into the space, but into the space vulnerable, open, and honest. we've been able to connect mothers to resources and partnerships like both Birth and Beyond sites at North Sac Family Resource Center, at Mutual Assistance Network in the Firehouse. We've been able to help that homeless mother who didn't know the education or the opportunities that were out there for each and every one of them. And we've also been able to make new partners with our mini grants, which she'll be speaking about just in a few minutes. But we just wanted to say thank you today, again, for making change possible. Our focus is really intended to make sure that we outreach, spread awareness, and engage those families, but really be that support to help them navigate so many resources, right? And if they were here today from their hearts, they want to say thank you as well.
Hello, my name is Dominique Herndon. I'm the Program Associate at the Del Paso Heights and North Sacramento CIL. I just want to talk about our new partnership, one of those being with CCHW. They're going to come into our community and provide childbirth education classes to the moms in our community, grab them up, engage them, and educate them, because we're lacking that a lot in our community, and it's going to be free of charge. So we're very happy and proud of that partnership. And then we're going to also implement another program at our local preschool, where we're going to have the children and their moms come together and then give the moms a chance to cultivate their relationships with their children, build, and just see their children flourish in that space. So we want to say thank you again. I want to wrap and say thank you again for investing and seeing the potential in this, not program, but a movement that is making change and saving lives. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, commissioners. It's my pleasure to be here today. My name is Jackie Rose, and I'm with Focus on Family, and I'm the Meadowview Community Incubator Lead. And I'm excited about this campaign, absolutely excited. I can't say how excited. Our role, as mentioned before, is a hub. We are a hub in a community that never had a hub. And so, being that hub now, we are the go-to agency that folks actually go to receive those services in those 4 focus areas that we're working so diligently to reduce. In reducing those areas, we are really looking at innovative, creative, outside-of-the-box ways on trying to reduce these areas. A lot of times in our communities, we look at all of the deficits, but I will tell you that these families come with us with a lot of assets as well, and we need not forget that. And so we oftentimes want to see, when they first come to us, there is some deficits, but we start to begin to have them look at their assets. And they have more of those than they have deficits. So I want to kind of make sure that we say that, and then I want to have Yolanda talk about a few of the things that we do in partnership with a lot of the agencies that we actually have done boots on the grounds, contacting everybody in that community to get involved with this campaign. Because as said before, it truly is a movement.
Thank you. My name is Yolanda Stevenson, work with Focus on Family, and just want to thank you all again for allowing us to come and talk to you today. Some of our agencies that we work with, our offices are located in the same building as the Birth and Beyond Family Meadowview Resource Center, and there we refer our families to their classes and all of their services. Birth and Beyond provides us with outreach information and on perinatal and infant safe sleep resources and workshops that they do within different organizations or different places in our offices. Birth and Beyond, they do not provide services to family with open CPS cases. Then what they do is then refer them to those families to our agency for the community resources, the family support, and case management, of which then we be able to enrich those families as well, so they don't fall through the cracks of the system. We currently partner with WellSpace Health to provide services and support to pregnant moms. We work with the beautiful Lavonda Simpson and Melinda Hill back here. They have collaborated with us with several of our families and young pregnant women to help them with healthcare services, making sure that they give them the parenting programs and everything that they need to make sure they have healthy babies with doctor visits that they may not be able to pay for. And all of our families and young mothers are completely pleased and are just so elated to be able to have that level of support, even when they didn't think that there was any other option. In addition to that, we also reached out to our Better Life Children's Services that provide Meadowview families with our cultural broker services. We've just connected with them, and we're starting to do work with her as well as our cultural broker in Meadowview, so we're very proud about that and the things to come. In addition to that, we have our formal relationships with over approximately 100 community partners who provide services and programs to support reduction of African American child deaths in the Meadowview family. We just currently did our first annual providers luncheon on November 17th at our hub, 2251 Florin Avenue. We have, and out of those 100 providers, we expected maybe half. You know, that's a good number. But out of that 100, over 80 plus of our providers showed up to this luncheon, and they all were able to get up and do a stand and tell to talk about the services they provide in their organizations with other organizations present, which includes churches, businesses, governmental agencies in our schools, and also other community-based organizations, so that each one can know who exists right there in the Meadowview, so that they can collaborate and make this a greater thing to outreach even to more people within the community. And we're just so proud of all of the wonderful things that are occurring and the families that we're building, one family at a time.
And then I'll just end by saying each one of the CILs that you've seen in that PowerPoint was selected for a reason. They were selected because we were already the boots on the ground doing a lot of work in these communities and connecting with these communities, and really already having a relationship with a lot of the families and the folks in the neighborhood. So it was so easy for us to step into this role as part of this campaign, simply because our families deal with you based on relationship building. And because those relationships were already there, this campaign has really taken a whole new life just because of the relationships that all 7 of us across city and county has built up with all of these families as part of the Black Child Legacy campaign. So I want to thank you for listening to us today, and I just cannot be more excited about this campaign and the future and where it's going to go. So thank you so much for listening today.
Thank you so much.
Okay, does that conclude? Oh, I see Kendra coming back. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Commissioner Elliott.
Just really quickly, sorry I'm talking a lot today. I just wanted to thank you guys for coming up here and giving this presentation, because when I first joined the commission, this was a newly started effort, and I was honestly confused about all the moving parts. And what I've really appreciated over the years is this continual communication, this partnership with us, with all of you, and it's helped us as we make decisions about, you know, the upcoming presentation we're going to get on the things that we're funding. So I kept hearing thank you, and I just want to thank you, because it's extremely helpful, and as we go into this next part of our meeting, it's really good for us to be in communication with all of the moving parts. So thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I want to make a motion that we have a baby in the back at every one of our meetings, because I appreciate the commentary from this young person reminding us what it is we're here to do.
It's actually much more civil than some of the
much more civil than
we hear in these
others,
chambers.
yes. So you can have as much time as you want. I also want to just make note that recently the Board of Supervisors had a presentation from our Child Death Review Committee, and some of the data that they presented shows that we made some slight improvements in the number of black children who are dying in our community, but it also made it very clear that we have a long way to go to address the disproportionality, and it's still very concerning. And I want to thank thank you all for the work that you're doing on the steering committee and in the campaign, and the Sierra Health Foundation and others who are participating in that, and all the community folks who presented here. You're an important part of what we do as a county as well in our child protection services system. You're helping keep families together that we might not otherwise be able to help in that way, and protecting children. You're helping our public health efforts in making sure moms are healthy and that their babies are born healthy, and also the work that you are doing with our probation department on addressing the significant and disturbing a problem of third-party homicides. So I commend the work you're doing. I'm equally excited at the community's involvement in this. It's something that I've seen not as often as I'd like in my 30-year career with the county. So it's exciting, and I commend you for the work, and keep on going.
Right. Commissioner Gordon.
Thank you. I also want to say a special thank you to the leaders involved, Dr. Natalie Woods, Andrews, Kendra, Montgomery Block, Chet Hewitt, who is not here, Paul Lake and the county staff. I think this has been a marvelous collaboration to some very good ends, and I think it was said by Dr. Woods Andrews and Kendra Montgomery Block, it's a new way of delivering services. It's creating networks that didn't exist. And I think there's something to build on for the future, and I'm tremendously optimistic. But finally, I want to say a special thank you to our chair, Supervisor Cerna, because I remember very vividly the meeting we had to review the child death report, and Supervisor Cerna said to all of us, this is not okay. Something major has to be started, and a movement has to be started to turn this around. So thank you, Supervisor Cerna. I think it's paid off. And thanks to all of the rest of you for the great work that's being done.
All right, Commissioner Turner-Johnson.
Well, I just want to add my support and thank you. And those thank yous for me would start, first of all, with all of the people in the field in those 7 target areas and CILs that are carrying this out. I agree with Dr. Gordon. It is a new, it's not really new, but it's a system change that isn't often used, and it's so effective, and we have to build on it. And I just want to make the comment that I did notice I kept getting a bit confused too, and one of my graduate students is writing a thesis about the role fathers played in this, which is yet to be finished, so when it is, it'll be a wonderful piece to share. But I also heard that they were changing names, for example, or some were, of the cultural brokers, and I was so pleased to get this and able to read it and better understand what was going on. And there was a point that came up in it around one of the agents saying that it was difficult to find, and my suspicion is that it might have to do with how much they can pay, and I just want to be sure that we are aware and doing our very best to support any way we can that basis, so that the people that are out there doing this hard work and making the trust are funded so that they can really get the kind of quality that you're building. I just want to lastly say that my late husband, who is a part of this Blue Ribbon Commission with our chair, Supervisor Cerna, and of course supported it and was on the steering committee up to the time of his death. I remember going around all these areas trying to build trust in each of them, driving him, of course, and going out there and just really observing the beginnings of that trust being made and figuring out how, if that trust could be started, what the best way of delivering service and getting those trusts with each family made. And I just hold that very dear in my heart, and also want to thank Chair Cerna very much.
Thank you. Okay, so I get the last word on this.
You do.
Yeah, I as Mr. Lake mentioned, the Board of Supervisors recently received a similar presentation. We had, I think, in excess of 40 speakers address the board last Tuesday to explain their different perspectives on what was at first just the Reducing African American Child Death effort, which has now blossomed into the Black Child Legacy Campaign. And all of it was, positive. It was good news. And I think we can all agree that in today's charged political atmosphere, I'll say, we're not hearing too much good news. We're not, whether it's local, state, or federal government, we're fed a lot of examples of people not working together, different agencies not working together. I guess it's a function, quite frankly, of what sells newspapers or what sells commercials on TV. And that's unfortunate because we have here in our own county something that is incredibly unique. As was mentioned by Chet Hewitt at the board, I think this is one of two efforts of its kind and magnitude and efficacy so far in the entire nation. So in addition to the thanks I certainly want to give to everyone that has been part of this, I want to suggest that that we look at, over the next year, it's not so much, blowing our own horn here. It's really an effort to kind of broadcast what we're doing, the mechanics of it, the successes so far, our objectives, but do it in a national way. And I'm looking at Aaron, and I'm thinking about our own county public affairs folks to think about different channels where we can communicate the intricacies of this effort, including maybe through the National Association of Counties. There are publications, there are conferences, there are numerous different conduits that we can exploit in a good way to get the message out about the movement. And I think that may help inspire other, whether it's counties or cities or communities in general, that can take this as a model of how to address a very troubling problem and challenge here in our community. And I always say it is the biggest one. I dare you to tell me there's not a bigger challenge than African American kids dying at twice, sometimes closer to 3 times the rate compared to other ethnicities. And it really does go to show the power of a question. All I did was, in 2011, was ask the question as a freshman supervisor, right? I mean, Paul was there. We were given a compendium of 2 decades of data about child deaths and the circumstances around all those deaths in Sacramento County, and the data was glaring about this deepening disparity. And I simply asked the question, well, what have we done about it? What are we going to do about it? And quite frankly, again, as someone that had only been on the board for a matter of a couple of months, to not hear too much response, certainly nothing affirmative, was extremely discouraging. And so that's what inspired the 18-month-long Blue Ribbon Commission, which inspired the report back, which began a feedback loop with the Board of Supervisors and the establishment of a steering committee. We've committed tens of millions of dollars now to this, and that's not the gauge of success, not the appropriation of funds. Ultimately, the metric, the ultimate metric, is to see that African American kids are not dying at the rates they have been since we've been measuring that. And we've, put that out there. We're going to hold ourselves accountable. We've said firmly, very convincingly, that we're going to try and hit the mark of a 10 to 20% reduction in just a few years. 2020 is fast approaching. But as Commissioner Lake mentioned, we're already seeing positive results, especially when it comes to infant sleep-related deaths. But quite frankly, that's probably the low-hanging fruit. When it comes to things like dealing with the older age cohorts in our youth population, African American youth population, and trying to grapple with can homicides and third-party homicides, that's a different animal entirely. And we're doing what we can to kind of set up for ourselves the infrastructure necessary to grapple with that very complex subject. And again, with the help of people like Chet and Kendra and Dr. Woods Andrews, we're going to get there. But it really has been the broader community. At the time we established the Blue Ribbon Commission, I made mention that ultimately the community has to own the success and the challenge of this. And boy, I couldn't imagine 6 years ago, quite frankly, that we'd be sitting here, whether it be at the first 5 commission or in the Board of Supervisors meeting to hear about the investment, to hear about the ownership, to hear about the successes so far. I could not have imagined that we'd get this far in this short amount of time. So again, this is probably the proudest movement that I've played some small part of in the almost 7 years that I've been on the Board of Supervisors and chairing this commission, and I really do commend everyone that's been a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity to share with you that big picture. We talk a lot about milestones here at First Five, so I think for us it's been exciting to almost see development along this journey and milestones and showing you all the tremendous growth that's happened in a year on a very broad countywide level. So we're going to also now move into the next phase, which is talking specifically about our programs and showing you all of the tremendous growth they've had in the past year. But again, I just wanted to thank our partners at the Black Child Legacy Campaign, and I appreciate how they've shown us how all of their partnerships they're developing in the community and continue to develop include many of our First Five partners too. So again, really showing you all how First Five Sacramento fits into that bigger picture. So thank you, partners.
Great.
I would like to actually request to change things up on the agenda really quickly. We have a wonderful mother and child back there that have been waiting patiently, and they have to leave early. So she was coming to speak about the Safe Sleep Baby program. If I could ask the commission if she could speak first so that
Please.
she could leave. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Davia. I have 2 children. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-month-old. I've definitely learned a lot through the Safe Sleep Baby class, and I've absolutely loved the Birth and Beyond program. I recently received a Safe Sleep Baby class and learned that it is important to make sure babies sleep alone on their backs with nothing in the crib. My son loves the pack and play I received from my home visitor, Ty. The pack and play is the safest place for the baby to sleep. I appreciate everything this program has given me, and I thank all of you.
Great. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. No problem. And babies are welcome at the meeting anytime. Thank you, everyone, for letting me change things up a little bit. I'm going to actually move us back now to our regularly scheduled program here, and I'd like to invite Lynn Kennedy, President of LPC. And she's going to share with you some of, again, the program level data and some of the exciting outcomes that we're beginning to see in our programs. I'm also going to have Alicia Loop Hanley, Account Supervisor at RSE. She will present our perinatal education campaign information during LPC's presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, staff, and ladies and gentlemen in the audience. I am Lynn Kennedy with LPC Consulting Associates, and I'm pleased to bring some findings to you, highlights from the second year evaluation. I am not Shannon Williams, who has been directing this project until her departure from LPC at the end of September. I'm still weeping. Brought me out of semi-retirement, but she's off to some grand things herself, and I'm sure she'll be back in the community and in this space again. I want to introduce Tracy Weld, who has been skillfully leading the charge to this point in time with this evaluation, and Christina Carson and Jessica Fatt are also here, so I've got backup. I think I can get through some of these fairly quickly because of things you've already addressed, and I don't know how to use the equipment. So how I move the slides. Yeah, that'd be great. This is why I bring my peeps. Okay, so the first slide. This is the timeline which has been discussed and sort of alluded to, certainly with the Blue Ribbon Commission work, the implementation of the RAACD work, and now the Black Child Legacy Campaign, and then, of course, the First 5 funding. And I just want to say I'm proud to kind of reiterate and echo a lot of the discussion around collaboration. We work all over the state and oftentimes interact with organizations and folks in this work outside the state. And I have been saying for 20 years that this is the most collaborative community there is. And so I just want to reiterate some of that. And this is part of that matrix. This is the drill down of part of that matrix of support. And I can't tell you if it's in the water or what, but it is indeed the most collaborative spirit between nonprofits, public sector, and so on. And it's hard to describe, but it is magic. So anyhow, here we are. And I think it's just important to acknowledge that it is a comprehensive approach with a variety of strategies that interact and intersect to really address the issues that were identified by that steering committee, and this is where we are today. Next. So just to come back to the disparate rates of African American infant deaths, this is the sort of the fine point that the steering committee brought home, that for all infant deaths, as well as those specifically for related to perinatal conditions and sleep-related deaths, African American infants are 2 to 3 times more likely to be impacted by that. So this is kind of the bottom line. These are the markers we want to see change. Okay, next. If you look at the trends over time from 2013 to 2015, and we're looking at 2013 as our baseline year. It's the sort of last year before all of this really started to come into play. All African American deaths were at 12.1 per thousand. It went up a little bit in 2014, but by 2015, with about a half a year of full implementation of all the initiatives, the rate has dropped to 11 per thousand, which is a drop of about 9%. Perinatal conditions have kind of gone up and down, but we're back on the downward trend, and then sleep-related deaths have been on the decline steadily. What I think is important to note here is that we don't yet have a trend, but we have some promising indicators that change is afoot. This is a great little sort of a subset of the mosaic that we call collaboration, and I think it's really promising to see how these things interact and work together. So we're looking at the Infant Safe Sleep Education Campaign in combination with the cultural broker programs, with the overarching public education campaign. I know Stephanie is here, and I don't want to, are you going to get to present? Okay, so I'm going to hit some highlights. The Child Abuse Prevention Council has the contract to do the Safe Sleep Baby Education Campaign. They're working in partnership with 22 partners. The collaborative meets on a regular basis, and they've been instrumental in guiding the messaging and the cultural appropriateness of the campaign. Just some highlights of sort of the output of this for fiscal year 16-17. More than 20,000 brochures were distributed. There have been video viewings by close to 1,400 folks. 970 posters are all over the community. And then there have been community outreach events to the tune of about 220, both with specific sort of community level as well as with specific organizations. And the Alone Back Crib Always, that's the memorable campaign slogan. The campaign is a combination of direct education, targeted education for pregnant new mothers, over 1,700 of whom have been reached, as well as service providers, more than 500 of them, who are interacting with these families all the time. So this is, the front line, both direct communication with the population that's impacted as well as the people who serve them. The other piece is the distribution or dissemination of cribs, these portable cribs for pregnant new mothers, and there have been 637 cribs distributed, which is a huge factor for families who don't already have a separate place to sleep their baby. And then there's been a follow-up survey, and we have surveys from 81 African American or multiracial mothers who did receive cribs. And this is self-reported data, but it still is awesome, and it suggests the power of education. in that 94% are reporting they always sleep their babies alone. 86% never sleep their baby with stuffed animals or blankets or pillows, and 78% are not co-sleeping with their babies. So this is an enormous, we don't know if it's a change, but it's an enormous finding in the right direction, and the educational campaign has been instrumental with this. In addition, the campaign is partnering with local hospital systems, and 6 of those where babies are delivered to Sacramento moms are implementing the Safe Sleep program, and the other 2, the remaining 2, are on board to implement the Safe Sleep education program in fiscal 17-18. There's also in motion an online training module to sustain this kind of training so that staff will be trained into perpetuity, and this will be completed and launched in fiscal 17-18. To date, through 16-17, 52 hospital staff have been trained directly, and they've been instrumental in the distribution of 167 of these portable cribs, and they are also showing the Safe Sleep video to new moms. This is a huge systems change, by the way. This is the kind of stuff that doesn't disappear after you've introduced it. I mean, you've got to keep nudging them to keep folks trained, but this is what sustainability is all about, is to get into systems where the work will continue. And then the trend line that we've all been excited about is to see the rate decline from 2013 into 14 into 2015. The numbers are very small, so I think it'll be interesting to look at this over time and to bundle some years together to see if this trend line has some longer teeth in it, but that this is definitely a promising trend. And with that,
hi, again, I'm Alicia Luke-Hanley with RSC. We manage the Sac Healthy Baby campaign. Sac Healthy Baby, you want me to take it, is a multifaceted campaign aimed at educating African American women about the importance of prenatal health and prenatal care, and raising awareness about the disproportionate number of African American infant deaths. Beyond the public education piece, though, it aims to be a connector, to connect pregnant women to the services that are available right here in Sacramento County. The campaign is multifaceted, so over the years it's include, of course, the website, but also outdoor boards, transit shelters, advertising at convenience stores. We're now in the laundromats in public housing units, TV ads, digital ads, collateral, media relations, and of course our outreach events. All the elements of the campaign work together, again, to really raise awareness and connect women to services. In 2016, we launched our stress campaign that's shown here after extensive testing. In 2016 alone, the outdoor boards delivered 85 million impressions. The radio spots reached 60% of our target audience, an average of 32 times each. And then other mediums such as digital aim to further increase that reach and frequency and convey that campaign message about how you deal with stress can really make a difference for the health of you and the health of your baby. All of the elements of the campaign lead to the campaign hub, the website, sachhealthybaby.com, with the Find Care Near You tool really is the centerpiece of that site. Moms can go to the site, enter their address, and immediately find services and resources right there in their area. Also, there's information on the site on taking care of baby, on the great work being done by the cultural broker programs, and then, of course, on Safe Sleep. In 2016, we had over 2,800 visits to the site, 425 individuals visiting the Find Care Near You page, 349 visiting Taking Care of Baby, and 258 heading to what we call the Let's Get Started that has that information on the various cultural broker programs. In 2016, we held 2 public outreach events. We held our Bumps and Bundles campaign launch event, which we had 114 attendees at, and then our second annual Pride and Joy Community Baby Shower, which had 232 attendees, including 113 pregnant or new moms. We are currently, as Julie said, planning for our 3rd annual baby shower that'll take place on February 24th. We've got a bigger space, so we're looking forward to making this event even bigger and more impactful.
Thank you, Alicia. And before you leave the mic, we have this running joke among staff and with our partners at RSE that we must have put something in the water at RSE, because since they started working on the campaign with us in January 2014, there have been 12 pregnancies. Alicia is expecting her second baby.
Yes.
So our campaign is positive and infectious. Thank you. Lynn?
Dr. Jones was hoping it was fluoride. So.
Okay, so now I'm going to share some information, some findings from the cultural broker programs. As you're aware, there are 2 providers who are engaged in this work, WellSpace Health, as well as the Center for Community Health and Wellbeing, and they call theirs the Black Mothers United campaign. The cultural brokers are lay community health workers, African Americans from the community who have trusting relationships with the population, and they're bringing education, awareness, support, services, linkages, and making sure that these women have what they need, or they get them to the place where they can get that for healthy birth outcomes. This is a map that shows where the concentration of the 415 women served in fiscal 16-17, where they live in the county. You can see that there's a concentration in the South Sacramento area. But the other thing I think is important to note about this map, and I believe it's the blue outlines, Tracy, around the zip codes, is that's the overlay with the locations of the CIL. So this again kind of reiterates that layering impact of the programs that are being funded to address African American child deaths. This is a graphic to kind of point to when the women are enrolling in the cultural broker program by the trimester of their pregnancy for both the WellSpace program and the BMU program. And the thing I really want to call out here is the fact that the women who are coming into the WellSpace to meet up with WellSpace cultural brokers, about 44% of those are coming into the program during their first trimester. They're coming in relatively early. In contrast, 48% of the women who are coming in through the Black Mothers United program are coming in their third trimester. So these are fairly different time frames for getting connected to a cultural broker, and it's probably a byproduct of where the programs are located. And one, of course, is a community clinic setting, and the other is outreach in the community. So it's kind of like a continuum, if you will, of how to make sure everybody has access to a cultural broker.
Whoa.
Well.
Sorry.
Okay.
And I have a question on that. That slide, the last slide.
Okay, back up.
So is this how you want to see this graph to appear? Can you give comments on that? I mean, I think it's obvious that the earlier intervention takes place, the better. Are we looking at strategies and where Black Mothers United might have better access to people in the first or second trimester? Or I'm trying to understand what I'm seeing here.
I'd have to defer to the program staff.
All right.
But I see this as, if you don't catch them in the first trimester, you have resources in the community who are still looking around, trying to find folks who are not connected to formal prenatal care, perhaps.
Okay.
So.
Thank you, Commissioner Elliott.
I can probably shed a little light, not being obviously a part of their staff, but when we were reviewing this in evaluation committee, we had the same exact question because these kind of seem like they're comparative, and I would, I guess, urge everyone to not compare the two programs because they are very different in how they access their population, and then the type of population more, for the BMU folks, it's harder for them to get the relationships in the beginning, and it's maybe a higher risk population. So these are separate populations and separate types of targeted work, if I may.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I thank you for that. Anything else before I move on? Speaking of risks and needs, there is a survey that's done with the folks who come into the cultural broker program at the beginning. And this is a little overview, a quick and dirty summary of the top psychosocial risk areas and the top health risk areas for the women who are coming into the program. And I just want to call attention to the psychosocial with the lack of stable housing and the lack of transportation. These are families who are resource poor, who don't always have stable situations and do not always have access to the transportation they need to get to the services they need. And then with the top health risks, you'll see a combination of nutritional, as well as diabetes and lack of prenatal care. So mom's health is subject to some issues, as well as just the prenatal care for the baby. And the top referrals, I think, put a fine point on some of the connectivity among First 5 funded programs and other programs in the community. So safe sleep training and crib provision is a huge part of the referral work that the cultural brokers do. They are also, by the way, trained in the Safe Sleep Baby campaign education, so they're imparting that knowledge as well with the women they work with. Basic needs, that just speaks to basic survival, Maslow's hierarchy, housing and food and shelter. And then the car seat education speaks to the continued safety of the infant. So this is just an overview of the top few of the risk areas that show up. There were 241 babies delivered. This says mothers, but there were 241 babies delivered through 232 mothers. And the reason for that is we had 9 sets of twins, which is highly unusual and a departure from past trends. But 241 babies. 85% of these babies who were in the cultural broker program were born at term and with healthy weight and gestational age. There were no infant deaths among these live births. I will qualify that by acknowledging that there was one stillbirth in the group that was served, and this was a mom who came into the cultural broker program, I think, at week 30, so it was late in the pregnancy, and it was an unfortunate loss, but that we do want to acknowledge that. You can see here a comparison of the birth outcomes of African American moms who participated in the program in fiscal 16-17 compared to the county data for all births for just the calendar year 2015. So there are different time periods, and that's important to acknowledge. But you can see that the participants in the cultural broker program did significantly better with the preterm indicator. And while the birth weights were roughly the same, that there were 12% who came in with low birth weight babies, remember we had a passel of twins who come in lower weight to begin with. And then next, so this is the recap of everything. For fiscal 16-17, there were no African American infant deaths among the cultural program participants. The percent of preterm births among these participants was significantly lower than the county, but again, we don't have year-to-year comparisons. And then low birth weights were similar for these moms as well as the county. And then African American infant sleep-related death rates have declined steadily since the program began. So if you don't have whiplash from the wild ride, any questions?
Any questions? Dr. Passeri?
Thank you for that presentation. I did want to go back to the slide that showed the referrals, and I like the explanation that you gave that I think what this shows is that we don't have only one period of time in which we can catch the pregnant mom, that if we miss it during the first trimester, we're able to, we have another program that is able to do outreach in the second and third trimester, so I think that's a good thing. One question I did have, and I don't know that you have the answer, but I'll throw it out anyway, because I know that oftentimes some moms, especially those that have challenges and they're afraid that, you know, if they do show up for prenatal care, that they'll be reported to CPS. They often end up reporting late for prenatal care, and oftentimes they end up, they tend to be high risk, end up at UC Davis. So I'm wondering if there are any efforts for, especially like the Black Moms United, to work with UC Davis to get some of those referrals, so that, because I also noticed the numbers, and I know it's also a matter of capacity, but being able to get more referrals from UC Davis, I think, would be good.
I'd have to defer to Black Mothers United to answer that question.
Hi,
Hi, my name is Kenya Fagbemi, and I'm the program director for Black Mothers United. Am I too loud? I feel like I'm loud.
Good.
Okay, yes, healthcare systems are sometimes hard and challenging. There's some challenges there, but there is a focus to try to capture these moms. Our efforts are to capture them at any point of the pregnancy, but I think part of the challenge is if a mom comes into care, half the battle's kind of already won. And what Black Mothers United is doing is trying to prevent some of those women that fall in between the cracks and navigating them into care. So some of the women that we are serving end up at a clinic like WellSpace Health or Capital OBGYN or other avenues, and our advocates are taking them, moms, to their appointments and helping them establish that prenatal care, whether it's early or late in the pregnancy, and connecting them to the services that they're going to need so that they can start their path of parenting. So that's, I hope, answered that question.
Thank you.
And if I could just clarify for everyone, whereas we encourage both the cultural broker programs to try to get women into care as early as possible, you really can't force women into care, and they will try repeatedly to follow up with moms. What we see it as is it's nice to offer different options to women that may come in to care at different times. And the nice thing about both programs is they start off with an initial assessment with all of the moms to see what their needs are. So wherever they are in their pregnancy, they're able to prioritize and address those most immediate needs at that time of coming into care. So, and the cutoff for enrollment in both programs is 36 weeks of pregnancy. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Wirtz?
Just a comment. This is very good to see the kind of progress we're seeing in the early stages here. One of the things I think was raised in the last question there was whether or not we're doing everything we can around the systems issues of our healthcare providers. We've seen in the Safe Baby piece a lot of work to make a systems change in how the hospitals function, and I'm just wondering if we've thought about the policy level of communication now for Black Legacy United to work together with the hospitals to ensure that we have culturally sensitive, culturally humble, culturally competent ways of engaging with our community members, because I think we certainly heard some concerns at some points that interaction of communication and relationship and respect in the service system may well be part of what the community senses as not a welcoming environment. So I think that's critical for us to look at the policy side of that, maybe training, and it's obviously not identifying any particular problem in particular that I'm speaking to in any of these agencies, but like we did with this Safe Babies program, Safe Sleep program, there is work to be done at the hospitals around their policies and procedures and training and workforce support. So I hope that that's just put on our plate as an ongoing avenue of intervention.
And can I just say one thing? We just sort of began this discussion at the last evaluation committee meeting when this issue came up, and Commissioner Elliott and I are going to sort of tag team it with our sustainability committee. We didn't get a chance to put all those thoughts together for our last committee, but it's on our agenda for our upcoming February meeting to talk about that.
Okay, any other questions for speakers or staff? Does that conclude the...
It does not.
Okay.
For LPC, I'm sorry. I told you to be informative today.
That's all right.
So now that LPC has provided you with some of the program level outcome data and given you just overall how our programs are doing in terms of some of the numbers, we wanted to give our program partners the opportunity to provide you with some more information about what it looks like to actually implement the program. What are some of their challenges and successes, and in addition, share some of the client feedback. So we're going to start off with Stephanie Biegler from the Child Abuse Prevention Council to share some information about Safe Sleep Baby.
Thank you, Linda, and good afternoon, commissioners. Did I do this? wait for the appropriate slide. Do I do that, Linda? Or?
They should do.
They'll
I'll
do it.
in just
Okay.
a second. There you go.
There we go. Thank you. It is an honor to share with you an update of the Safe Sleep Baby program for the last program year, and I do so on behalf of 400 parents and service providers who in 2014 provided valuable insight into the message and the design of the program. I do so on behalf of the 20-plus Safe Sleep Baby Collaborative members who have donated considerable time in developing the program and to today still continue to monitor its progress and provide continuous quality assurance improvement. And I do so on behalf of the Safe Sleep Baby staff and partners, some who are in the room with us today, who trained in the last 2 years of our contract 3,400 parents, including 1,200 African American parents, on the Safe Sleep Baby message. And most importantly, I do so on behalf of unknown infants whose lives perhaps were saved because their parents listened to and adhered to the Safe Sleep Baby message, much like Davida shared with you earlier. The Safe Sleep Baby campaign is a multi-level approach based on a public health example of prevention that actually goes beyond education of the individual to the broader community goals. At the policy level, Safe Sleep Baby, as has been referenced earlier, has changed the organizational practices of hospitals who now educate on Safe Sleep Baby. At the services level, Safe Sleep Baby partners with and educates providers who have ongoing contact with expecting new parents, and they have the ability of influencing them and encouraging healthy sleeping behaviors. At the community level, Safe Sleep Baby targeted 6 neighborhoods where, in the 20-year Child Death Review Team report and a couple of reports thereafter, 2/3 of the infant sleep-related deaths occurred. At the community level, we promote community education. We hope to mobilize these neighborhoods to increase their capacity to share Safe Sleep Baby information and resources. And at the individual level, Safe Sleep Baby education strengthens the knowledge and skills of expecting new parents, increasing their capacity to sleep their babies safely. Oh, excuse me. There we go. Our hospital successes. We've talked a lot about hospitals today, and they are extremely important partners of Safe Sleep Baby. Prior to Safe Sleep Baby, hospital education did not exist. And if it did, it was limited and it was inconsistent. And there was no one that coordinated the messaging, nor was there a standard message. And I stand before you today as part of the collaborative and the work that you so generously have funded, that all 8 hospitals are now delivering Safe Sleep Baby to birthing mothers. In Safe Sleep Baby's initial stages of development, the collaborative was very thoughtful and purposeful in formulating a screening question that would initiate a conversation between a new mom who just delivered and a nurse about how they were going to sleep their baby. And we drafted an open-ended question that goes, where will you sleep your baby when you get home? And the nursing staff has applauded this question, continues to use it, because it really does prompt the conversation that the collaborative had intended it to. And as you know, moms who respond that they do not have a safe place to sleep their baby, such as, again, Davia, receive a crib and 1 hour of Safe Sleep Baby education. The two together are extremely important. There were other successes this last year with the Safe Sleep Baby program. And it is important to remember that Safe Sleep Baby is a message and a model designed for parents by parents. In 2014, there were 160 African American parents from the targeted communities, as well attended about a dozen focus groups, as well as about 240 providers who responded to a SurveyMonkey. There was a resounding agreement in the Safe Sleep Baby message content, and surprisingly, that content actually aligns with the American Academy of Pediatrics guidelines for safely sleeping an infant. Our successes and highlights in 2016 include ongoing crib access. It is critical to Safe Sleep Baby, and parents have been extremely appreciative of the opportunity to have a safe place to sleep their infant. In this last year, we initiated a partnership with CPS so that they will educate expecting and new moms on Safe Sleep Baby, and we want to ensure that CPS refers to the Child Abuse Prevention Council those mothers in need of education and a crib. Safe Sleep Baby also continues to assess behavior change through interviews with parents who have received the full dosage of the education. About 3 to 4 weeks after the birth of an infant, they receive a follow-up interview, asking some very important questions about, is your baby exposed to smoke? How are you sleeping your baby? Is it alone? Is it on its back and in a crib? LPC Consulting had reviewed some of those results of those assessments to you. What is really important of what you saw is that 78% of parents interviewed stated that they never co-slept with their baby. And that was a statistically significant result when LPC applied their T-test to it. And that compared to 10% in the intake process. And the reason why I'm focusing on that risk factor is that is one of our most common risk factors for a sleep-related death. It's sleeping in an adult bed and co-sleeping, and the two more likely go together than not. We have some improvements that we are looking to in the 2017-2018 year. First, we are going to launch a Safe Sleep Baby online training for pediatricians and hospital staffs who have identified that they really lack the time to attend an in-person training. We are going to develop and deliver a Safe Sleep Baby refresher training for nurses and service providers. And it has been suggested to us that we highlight and emphasize the reduction in sleep-related deaths of African American infants. And our hospital staff and service providers have told us that that really continues to motivate staff to push the education on their clients. CDRT has reported for the past 3 years that infants with a CPS referral are 2.3 times more likely to die from a sleep-related death. In 2017-18, we really want to strengthen our relation with CPS and hope that we can implement a practice of an automatic referral for any expecting or new mothers involved with CPS to the Safe Sleep Baby program. One of our strongest requests from parents back in 2014 was that Safe Sleep Baby be the dominant standard message delivered by all. They wanted to hear the same message with the same graphics and the same colors and the same video, whether or not they were in prenatal care, whether or not they were delivering in the hospital, whether or not they were interfacing with their pediatrician or their home visitor. And we know that there is a lot of opportunity in 2017-18 to go ahead and to work closer with the community incubator leads specifically to make sure that there is understanding of the process and the input behind the message and the importance of conveying that message. And sort of to get a head start on the important discussion of sustainability with First Five, in the 17-18 program year, we are using federal AmeriCorps dollars to enroll 3 AmeriCorps members who are serving as health educators. They will each be assigned 2 of the 6 neighborhoods that SSB targets. They will be liaisoning with the Birth and Beyond Family Resource Centers in those 6 neighborhoods, and they will become the experts in knowing who are the thought leaders. They will be connecting with the community incubator leads. So we will have a combination and a knitting of an individual that has experience and expertise and knowledge about Safe Sleep Baby with where those resources are and where parents are going in our targeted communities. And it is appropriate that we save this last slide. LPC gave you an insight into the data, and it was presented, as has been mentioned, to the Board of Supervisors on November 14th. I just presented it in a different way and wanted to share with you some background information. In 2015, Safe Sleep Baby had trained more than 1,800 parents, and about 1/3 or 600 parents were African American. And the downward trend that you can see from 2012, which is the baseline year for Safe Sleep Baby, because there was no education at all that was taking place. And you can see that as evidenced by the 25 deaths of all infants in sleep-related of that one year, to the 2015 year, which is obviously the most recent year for data, that there is a substantial decline in sleep-related deaths of African American infants. So we went 10, 7, 5, and 3. However, due to the small numbers, the differences for statistical significance were at a p-value less than 0.1, and it doesn't quite meet the standard 0.05 p-value. So we cannot tell you that it's statistically significant. As Lynn said, we are going to go ahead and track this over time. Regarding the 2016 Child Death Review Team data, we still are outstanding about 8 cases where the coroner is still doing an investigation, and we do not begin any data review of child death until all of those deaths have been reviewed and concluded by the Child Death Review Team. But we anticipate that will take place soon, January or February of 2018, and we will be certain to share with you as quickly as we can the 2016 Child Death Review Team data. So I want to conclude, as others have, with sincere thanks to First 5 Funding. Your vision, your foresight, the support of the Commission, the support of Julie and her team. I think this chart here indicates collectively we have saved babies' lives. And thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to answer any questions any of you may have.
Commissioner Lake.
Yeah, Stephanie, thank you very much. I want to thank you also for your assistance earlier this year in working with one of our hospital systems and the ads that they had running on television that were trying to promote father-baby bonding by having the father climb into the crib and going to sleep with the baby.
Yeah, you do kind of see these things and you wonder.
I know you made a number of efforts to get those off. They continued airing them until all of their purchased slots were paid for or aired. But I thank you for that. And I think that's an ongoing challenge for us. I think the message, in spite of this great progress, and I'm very encouraged by it, I think we're never going to be able to declare mission accomplished on this. It's going to have to be an ongoing effort. Being a grandfather of a young baby, my son and his wife have a lot of other friends who have babies, and I'm still astonished by the number of them who sleep with their babies. And these are well-educated people who think that I know better than the government does what's best for my baby. And I think it's just an ongoing campaign we have to keep pushing. So thank you for all your great work, and congratulations on the progress.
Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Stephanie. I just want to compliment you and Child Abuse Prevention Council for, I think, a great program. It may be low-hanging fruit that we were able to capture, but I think you did a fabulous job. This message, alone, back, crib, always, really, I think that media campaign is just beautiful. Along with First Tooth, First Birthday, this goes out with my moms whenever I see them. So great job.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. The final two speakers are from WellSpace Health and Center for Community Health and Wellbeing. They'd like to share information with you regarding the Cultural Broker Program. So I'd like to invite Brenda Shipp and Melissa Hill from WellSpace Health to the podium, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Brenda Shipp, and I'm the Chief Operations Officer for WellSpace Health, and this is Melissa. We may go a bit rapidly because we have two very pregnant moms who are a bit uncomfortable, so we'll want to be respectful of that for them. We primarily focus on our perinatal conditions because all of these things are very important, but perinatal conditions are one of the major causes for this, and our CEO, Jonathan Porteous, who's not here today, is definitely an advocate for all the disparities, but we are focusing on perinatal conditions, and that's what we'll be talking about today. And as I said, we're honored to be here. We so appreciate your funding, the staff of First Five, who helps us with everything that we do. We're struggling sometimes trying to figure it all out, so we really appreciate their help and especially your attention to this very necessary issue that we have that's facing us every day.
Yeah, good afternoon. Again, thank you so much for having us here. I am Melissa Hill, the Program Manager for the Cultural Broker Program. I'll be giving you a brief overview of how our program at WellSpace Health runs. Our clients, and I'm going to go a little out of order of the bullet points, but I'll address all of them. Our clients are recruited into our program through our WellSpace Health prenatal care centers, the many outreach events we do in the community, and our community partners. A lot of them were here in the room today. We use the Nurturing Parenting Program prenatal version, which is an 18-lesson evidence-based curriculum that provides pregnancy and parent education and has shown positive results. Our staff are called prenatal support advisors, and they work one-on-one with our clients. Part of the NPP curriculum involves the clients taking an assessment that looks at different risk factors. We then use those assessments to create an individualized care plan for our moms. The first few visits, our advisors are just spending time discussing the client's hopes and fears, which helps them connect with the moms and build that trust. We meet with the moms for at least 30 minutes on a weekly basis to go over the lessons, address any questions or concerns they have, discuss goals, and provide support. Sometimes the advisors are the only ones that will just sit there and let the moms talk and listen. These relationships that can develop, they continue long past the time that the moms are exiting our program. Our advisors are true advocates for their clients. We are able to fast-track new clients into care at WellSpace Health if they haven't been receiving prenatal care. They will attend the appointments with the moms and make sure that they are understanding what the providers are saying to them. They help the clients follow through with all the necessary appointments and assist them with accessing transportation either through their health plans, bus passes, or sometimes just picking them up and taking them themselves. We also help the moms prepare for the birth by encouraging them to take many of our 24 health education classes that are offered at WellSpace Health. These classes go over a variety of topics in childbirth and newborn care, including car seat safety with the installation of a high-quality car seat to make sure that they have a way to safely take their babies home from the hospital. Our staff have also been trained by CAPC to teach safe sleep classes and provide pack-and-plays if the parents don't have something, to make sure that they have a place to safe sleep their babies. We are encouraging our parents to participate in the WIC resources, and we've been able to help some of our clients get into shelters and some transitional housing. If they have a need, we really make it a priority to make sure that we're there to meet that need for them. Our program also covers the cost of a cervical length ultrasound at approximately 24 weeks. This is to detect if the cervix is starting to shorten, which would be making these moms at very high risk for for having a preterm delivery. I can think of 4 clients that we have sent for this exam, which is not covered by their health plans, and it detected the shortened cervix in them. 3 of those moms, because of immediate medical intervention after this diagnosis, 3 of the moms went full term, and the 4th mom went an additional 6 weeks, and she delivered twins. So that was a big success for us. All this is done with the goal of building resilient families that stay together. Our program has had some great successes, but early on we did have some challenges, which Brenda will go ahead and address for you.
Okay, so this is from the beginning of our program in 2016, and we are happy to say we've changed a lot of this. Is what you'll see here. So one of the things that was really important was getting the patients to have the ultrasounds. That was very difficult. Lots of things, transportation, understanding, getting into care. They needed to get to a certain point. So that was a big challenge for us that we have overcome now, and now getting those ultrasounds have really helped to reduce the risk of the preterm death. So we've really been we've been really good at that. Changing the referral process also helped ensure mothers are receiving their service. We someone mentioned earlier, we are a healthcare system, so it's a bit different in how patients reach us, but we try to make sure that from the very beginning point that there is a connection, either through a cultural broker, through a health educator, through someone who's connecting them from the very beginning, and importantly, the relationship is really critical. And so we really worked on what the referral looks like. It's not just sending off a piece of paper saying go, but really having someone talk and educate with them about what that referral means, how it's going to impact them, how it's going to impact the child and their birth throughout. Outreach was really difficult. We had to hire a recruiter. First of all, let me just say that our partnerships that we're having now, I just want to say that the CLI has been really great and being able to go out and do that. So we're really grateful for this as well, because it's giving us an additional avenue for recruiting, because that was something that we had difficulty to, reaching out to moms who were pregnant, because everyone doesn't come, even though we're a healthcare system, people don't come in for care. People typically use ERs. They go to the hospital when they need care, and so some of those are also pregnant moms. So we had to hire someone to actually go out and reach out to the pregnant moms, also connect with the community partners, and have us then align a partnership and collaboration that helped to get us in faster. A lot of them did not have home internet service. Contrary to what we think, and we're all on the age of technology, about 37% of the African American moms did not have access to internet. And a lot of our recruiting and the things that we did were materials on the internet that they did not even have access to. So we really made a big effort to go out to offices, barbershops, beauty salons, stores, places where people go on a regular basis, and leave our materials there so they're easily accessible for them to get. So we're not relying upon the computer to give it to them. They can walk in, or a friend or someone saw them and said, oh, we saw this in a beauty salon, this might help you, or we saw this in a barbershop, or some market that they go to. And so that has really worked out to be better for us, and we're seeing a lot more success from those ways as well.
I'd like to talk a little bit about our successes, which I think are amazing. Our model of care, again, just based on our model of care, we've had some really great successes. We have definitely seen a reduction in preterm deliveries, and we believe that a lot of this is due to the education we provide on the importance of prenatal care, and by reviewing the signs and symptoms of preterm labor, along with all the other things that we're doing. In the 2016-2017 fiscal year, we had a total of 170 babies born, which included 9 sets of twins. And while it's very common for twins to be both preterm and low birth weight, 4 of our sets went full term, and 5 of those babies were a healthy birth weight. Kind of felt bad for moms
carrying 12 pounds worth of babies, but to us that was a really big success. So several of our moms that do deliver early have a lot of other health risk factors, hypertension and diabetes. We do have, but this is why we're doing it right there. That's why we're doing what we do. And we have 3 clients with us today that would like to just take a minute or two to share their experiences with us, or with you. We have Jamila Ali, Letitia Johnson, and Tiffany Lathers.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? Okay. My name is Jamila Ali, and I am here on behalf of WellSpace as a former client in their prenatal support program. And at the beginning of 2016, if someone had have come to me and said, your story will change someone's life, I probably would have gave them one of my crazy looks and said, yeah, okay, whatever. In 2016, I was in an abusive relationship, 3 years. I didn't have a car, I didn't have a job, and very insufficient funds to support myself, leaving me dependent on my abuser. In 2016, I also got pregnant, and in 2016, at one of my prenatal visits, I was approached by a recruiter from the WellSpace program, and I immediately jumped on board. I was like, one-on-one contact with someone who looks like me? Yeah, I'm down, let's do it. My prenatal support advisor is here, and she's going to kill me for this, but I'm going to take one for the team because I'm going to direct it to her. You do have an idea as to what you've done for me. I know. You and I instantly connected, and it was like we had known each other forever. And you never let me down during our time together. And I entered the program, I think, early on into my second trimester. We met on a weekly basis. We went through the formalities, get the book out, and it was kind of a refresher course for me because I have 2 kids prior to my last child. But after the formalities, she would sit there and she'd be like, so what's going on? So what's up? And it was that opportunity for me to open up and share with someone what I was going through, and not one time did you judge me. Not one time. And I love you for that. You empowered me to stay focused on what was important, and that was my kids and my sanity. And I'm forever grateful to you. And I'm gonna stop now before I go into a full-fledged boo-hoo, but my child was born on December 9th, 2016. I carried her past her due date. She took her time, which was fine. And she was a healthy birth weight. 4 months ago, I left my abuser. 2 months ago, I got a car. And also 2 months ago, I was hired on at WellSpace. So if someone approached me today and said my story would change someone's life, I would look at them and I say, you're right, it will. To be on the giving end of what I received from this program is definitely an honor and an experience I hope to continue. Thank you.
Great.
Hello all, my name is Letitia Johnson. I'm just very appreciative for the prenatal support program through WellSpace, primarily for the around-the-clock support that they give. My home visitor is a really good friend of mine, and I'm currently pregnant with my second child. I have a 5-year-old at home. Recently, my husband has moved to Hawaii for work, so of course that creates its own stressors in itself. And Karen has just been here to support me through it all, just to kind of give me that encouragement and realize that I have to take time for myself. Also giving the the education through WellSpace is just been very, very helpful. Trying to work a 40-hour week and take care of my young child at home and then take care of myself as well has definitely had its ups and downs and stressors and difficulties, but anytime I need her, she's right there, just as that form of support. So I'm just really thankful for WellSpace and what they're doing in the community. Even though this is my second child, like, it's a lot of stuff that I've forgotten, a lot of things that have changed since 5 years ago, and I just wouldn't know where I would be without the program. I'm sure it's definitely created a sense of sanity in my life, so I'm very appreciative of the program. Thank you all.
Can't believe we made you wait.
My name's Tiffany Lathers, and when I first got asked to join this program, I wasn't too sure about it, just because I'm the type of person that I don't really like people telling me what to do. And I didn't know if that's what this program was going to be, someone telling me how to parent. So it took me like a week or two to commit to it, and I'm glad I did commit, because even though I'm with Tanisha, she's been there through my mood swings and attitudes and all that. I don't even know why I'm crying. It's just gonna come out. But I've learned a lot. She doesn't tell me what I need to do. She gives me more suggestions of what I should do. This is my first child, and hopefully he doesn't come out right now, because it could be any day he's due. But I think without this program, I would have probably sat at home trying to figure out what I needed to do, rather than someone telling me what I need to do and suggesting things that I should do. I think within coming to the last few days of my pregnancy, I can honestly say I don't know what I would have done without this. I just want to thank you guys for your help. And I really want to thank Tanisha, because, again, my attitude is not the best. She'll call me and I'll be like, what? So thank you for that, dealing with that. And I hope that there is support like after this as well, because it's not just what comes before, it's also going to be what comes after, and being able to help support me as a mom and then my son. That's it. I'm done.
All right. Good job.
So unless there are questions, I'm sorry we had to go through that so fast, but as you can see, we were really asking the moms to bear a lot to be here this long. So unless are there questions?
Any questions for our speakers? I don't think so. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Last but not least, I'd like to invite Kenya Fagbimi from the Center for Community Health and Wellbeing to talk about Black Mothers United.
Good afternoon, commissioners, Chair Cerna, and First Five, for all of your support. We could not do this work without all of you and all of the commitment, and also all of the partners and everyone that has been here and everyone that on many levels that is doing this work of reduction of African American child death. I want to first just say again, thank you. So Black Mothers United uses a culture broker home visitation and case management model to support the women. Sorry. Thank you.
There you go, one more. There you go.
One more. This is one of our babies. So we use the culture broker model, and we call our culture brokers personal advocates. And our key components is to partnership with the community and outreach to the community. We have case management, and I'll speak a little bit further about that and how we kind of roll out our services. And our ultimate goal is to, of course, support a mom during her pregnancy. And throughout her, we also extended to a 4th trimester, providing services as well, and case management. And our goal is to have a healthy baby. So we had some challenges as well. And 3 main challenges we had was staff turnover and change in leadership, which also affected our agency morale, and which also affected our enrollment goals. And we first addressed this by, well, one of the things that happened was our executive director, some of you know Wendy Petco. She went into retirement and focus on her health. And then we had Shannon Reed, who is currently counting the seconds to have her baby. She stepped into that role as the executive director, and she had been with the agency for over 5+ years. And we also changed my position. I started in 2014 as senior personal advocate and moved into a program manager role, but I also was carrying a caseload. So this, I believe, we had some lessons that we had to learn in all of this. As we were going through these transitions, it brought down, I believe, our staff's morale. There was this uncertainty of where the agency was going, and there wasn't a level of transparency from a management standpoint. And there was just not, I think, enough answers for staff to really understand what our organization was going through. And so we addressed that by creating a program director position, and we moved me from having a caseload so then I could focus more on supporting the staff and their needs, and also building upon the partnerships that we have created. So there's one thing about going and starting a partnership with an agency and telling them all the wonderful things that you do, but somebody has to nurture that partnership. There's levels of that partnership, which could be collaborating with them on a certain project, outreach events. There's all kind of things that you can do when it has to do with partnerships. And I couldn't focus on both. I was either going to do one or the other, or do them kind of mediocre, and I don't do mediocre. So my focus really was on the clients that I was serving, and so that again left kind of a gap for the support that the staff really needed, and focusing on those partnerships and building those partnerships. So we brought in a consultant who worked with our staff on many levels, and this helped us realize some of the things that we could change right off the bat, and transparency and inclusion for program planning was one of the things that we thought were really important for our staff to be included and be a part of the processes and planning of our future. And we opened up an opportunity to have, to allow staff to express some of the things that they may be challenged with. Also, opportunity to give them that moral support that they need. To help them through some case management as well. So we do one-on-one staff support with each advocate individually. And that also looked at other avenues and partnerships that we could build to provide professional development for each staff. We also, one of our biggest things, and we pride ourselves on, is self-care. That has just been a part of our culture now. Each advocate, we have it up on the board. It's one of our focuses, our moms. We do a lot to support those moms, but we have become each other's advocate to really lift each other up and support each other as we go out and do this work. And then as far as enrollment goes, we looked at some of our what we have been doing and what we can do differently. And the advocates who are out there really doing this work, they had the best information on how to go about doing this. So that helping them to be more inclusive in planning is how we took care of our outreach efforts. And as a result of that, we have seen some growth there with enrollment. I'll point out a correction. There was, right at the top of this next slide, says there was a 363% increase in productivity. It was actually 262% increase in productivity, which was still awesome to see. And this was from our fourth quarter of the previous fiscal year to our first quarter of this fiscal year. And that was working through all of those challenges that brought about that increase of enrollment, them being able to meet their moms on a regular basis. And as I go a little bit further along, I'll tell you a little bit more about how we meet our moms. And so the agency's culture, we have a team, again, focused to uplift all of our staff and support them so that they are more equipped to go out and do the work that they do. And an increased enrichment in the community partnership, as I mentioned before, was because I was able to then focus on other things and utilize some skills that I had in a different way, and all the while still support the advocates who are out there doing that work. And you can see some of the partnerships that we have built. One is, of course, the Black Child Legacy Campaign, Nurse Family Partnership, Black Infant Health, Capital BGYN, WIC, and a host of others that are not up there today. But we cannot do the work that we do without the partners. So some of our core services, like WellSpace, we have a 30-minute visit with our moms on a weekly basis. And initially coming into care, we do an assessment, and the assessment looks at some of those risk factors that helps us build a care plan with the mom. And we start to work on what are some of the successes and strong points that the mom have, and what are some other areas where she's going to need some support. And the first thing that when a mom enters care is we make sure that she's connected to a safe infant sleep class and she gets that training. We also partner with Safe Kids and provide the car seat safety class, so moms also get that. And we also have a monthly meeting where moms come to that, and it's a host of different conversations and community partners who come and tell about their expertise in the services that they provide, and again, just repetition of some of the lessons that they may be getting one-on-one with their advocate. And so one of the things I like to pride ourselves on is that we do have a long-standing relationship in this community. Many of us known as the Birthing Project Clinic. We had to close our doors some years ago, but continue to do the work of reduction of African American death. And so this is just one avenue, and how we are accomplishing that is supporting moms during their pregnancy. Staff are representative of those that we are serving. Me, myself, I grew up right here in the Meadowview community. I was a teen mom. There was not a movement like this. There was no support out there. And just this work that we're doing today and the many facets and how it all comes together is so important. And it doesn't matter to me which door they come in, as long as they're getting the service. And that's what I see with this movement, is that maybe a mom may come in. We've seen that trend of, with WellSpace, when moms coming in early in the care and us getting our moms later in care. That just kind of, to me, speaks to a lot of the providers that we're leaning on to get a part of this effort, or be a part of this effort. The challenge is they don't see an African American mom who should just automatically go to this program. There's a lot that goes into the outreach that we do as far and the service that we're providing. It poses a challenge. We need those medical providers to come on board and be a part of this movement. And it's just, again, one of those things that we need to see happen on a different level. And so, again, for me, I didn't have these services. And so today we see a different kind of movement, and we see moms able to get these services that weren't here in the past. And as I mentioned, we do extend our services to a fourth trimester. And once moms enter our program, they are forever able to come, as long as we're still around, to our monthly meeting. They are welcome to any part of that. And so pregnancy-related health is one of our strengths. Again, we look at what the mom needs and what she needs to know. We come in and we just offer information based on a lot of the conversation that we're having with these moms, and it's a follow-up and follow-through on some of the resources that you may have referred the mom to. Did she go to it? What are some of the barriers? Why didn't you go? Let's see what we can do to help you accomplish this. And we also help these moms just kind of navigate some of the systems that they might not be aware of or afraid to approach, because, you know, they're so afraid that CPS is somehow going to be involved, or they're going to be told on. So we kind of help soften the ground as to what these services actually do and how they're going to help you and benefit you. And that's a critical piece to what advocates are doing. And we talked about transportation is one of the things that we are providing. Some of these moms have a hard time making it through, you know, several buses with other children and trying to make it to an appointment. So they might start care somewhere, but they might not follow through and finish the amount of care that they really need. So our advocates make sure that they are going to those appointments, that they are attending every appointment that's needed. If it's blood work, if it's that needs to be done, we get it done in a day. And then the cross-referral and partnership with community agencies, again, are so critical. We've changed our name. We have been for so long calling our meetings monthly meetings, and one of our advocates said, "Can we change the name? Can we change the name?" And so we listened, and so they're now called Sister Circles. And Sister Circles, again, any mom that enters care can continue to participate as long as she chooses to, but we have an array of different topics. This one month coming up, we'll be doing prenatal yoga. We had partnered with someone from UC Davis that is going to come in and do prenatal yoga. And it's just, again, one of those topics, and it allows for them to learn about ways that they can reduce stress in some more practical ways of going about doing that. And so some of our outcomes, we have seen a healthy weight and age. We have 49 moms that came into care and were at a healthy weight. And we also had 2 moms that we did not get information from on their birth. We had 15 moms, and in a couple of different ways you can see there that had the poor birth outcome, but 6 of them were preterm, 12 were low birth weight, 4 were preterm and low birth weight, and 1 stillborn. And just to kind of piggyback on some of those challenges again with hospitals and providers, it's just an all-around effort, and I see that just being a really key and critical piece to what we need to be even more successful at our efforts, is bringing that medical portion on to what we are doing. I think we will see some even more promising change when it comes to the work that we're doing. Here's some of our client feedback, and I have one who actually had to leave today. Her name is Robin Dunton, and she is a office assistant at Kevin McCarty's office, and she was a participant of ours 2 years ago. And one of the things that we learned from her and that she really stressed was the education she received from her advocate. She was a first-time mom, and she talked about the classes that she received, and the one-on-one education and support was very meaningful to her. And before I leave you, I just wanted to just share about one client that I think is kind of epitome of what we are all doing, and kind of what a life of an advocate would look like, if you will. So I had a young mom who was about 17, 18 years old, first-time child, living with the father of the baby and his mother, and they became homeless. And my challenge was, she had a newborn baby, and the challenge was to find housing for her. And in doing so, of course, mom does not want to part from dad, and most of the shelters that are out here, mom can come into, but not dad. And there are some other services out there where that's can work, but you have to be married. And so the challenge was getting her, first of all, into the Human Assistance Office and getting the Homeless Assistance Program and getting some support there. But while that was happening, we got her into Francis House. But there were so many barriers that popped up. One, she had a newborn baby, and we had to go a couple of times back and forth to Human Assistance Office getting all the documents that she needed, but not only what she needed, what the father needed, because they are a unit. So sometimes helping mom means helping dad or someone else as well. So we had to get a voucher from Francis House to get an ID for him. We had to go back and get proof of income for dad and mom. And then there's, of course, timelines, and the office is only open a certain amount of time, and you got lines that you got to stand in for this or for that. And meanwhile, she's got a newborn baby. And so I remember times having to pull over and her nurse the baby in the back seat of my car, and we have to sit there until the baby says I'm done. And so it's more to just driving someone to an appointment or just taking them to get this resource or that resource. It really is, in one day you could be going several places to accomplish the goal. And she kind of was that. She was that mom that it took several days to accomplish the goal, but in the end, she was able to get housing through that program. She was able to get a job. The job was what helped her be able to pay for her apartment, and in all, she just really needed the encouragement. She had all the tools. She knew what to do. She knew how kind of to go about it. I provided the transportation. I provided the moral support and some guidance in some aspects. And all the while, reminding her, did you eat today? Did you do this? Did you do that? You know, that all those things that we had written about in her care plan. So, without further ado, I'd like to invite you, Jamala Green, up. And she was also a participant of Black Mothers United, and she is now an employee of Black Mothers United. And she'll just give you a little bit about her story and how she came about being in our program.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a little nervous, I'm sorry. Sorry. I first heard about Black Mothers United. I came in for a car seat education class, and I was a first-time mom, and that's when I was approached by an advocate who told me about the program. But at the time, I was working 2 jobs. I had a car, I had my own place, so it was kind of like I didn't need it. But I gave her my information, and she literally called me maybe twice a week and kept telling me about the program. And eventually I'm like, okay. And I gave in and I joined. And it is literally the best thing that ever happened to me. At 30 weeks, due to me working 2 jobs, I was working 2 warehouse jobs at the time, my feet gave out on me. So I ended up being put on leave, and that put a huge financial burden. I was at risk of losing my place, and that's when my advocate made the most impact on me. She was right there with me, encouraging me, and one of the main things that she taught me about was self-care and how I need to take care of myself. And one thing that I do remember her saying to me is, don't stress over things you cannot control. And that really spoke volumes to me, because I couldn't control me going out on leave. Now it was more of, what are you going to do? And I was able to get through it with her, just her moral support, because I, like I said, I already had the transportation. I can get to my appointments, and I was able to, I had housing, things that a lot of women battle with, but that moral support is what I lacked. And it made the total difference. The personal advocate I started with ended up changing positions, and I was given another advocate. And she's an advocate that really encouraged me to maybe think about changing my job field if it was becoming too much. And that's when she told me about her job as a personal advocate, and I was just like, no, I can't do it. I don't have the educational background. And she was just like, no, like, it's all about heart. And honestly, you have to just have the heart for it, and the rest will come along, and you will be supported and trained on the rest. And that's when I took the step, and I applied, and I interviewed. I didn't get it right away. I was kind of bummed, but eventually they called me back, and it came right on time. And honestly, this is like one of the most fulfilling jobs I've ever worked. And it's a lot of grassroots. A lot of things, let's just say, a lot of things are not in a job description. I'm doing things I never thought. I'm attending, I'm going to court with people. I'm working weekends, and on top of that, I'm trying to fulfill my personal goals, which is I'm currently, due to my job, which encouraged me, I'm going back to school and trying to get my BA, and they've worked with me a lot. And with self-care, I've never worked a job where really it's about you. What do you want to do? How can we support you? And they have really supported me in that, so I'm able to balance out going to school and working. And there's been times with childcare, I'm able to bring my daughter with me. She's 1 year old, and they've supported me through that, and that's huge. And it really has made an impact. And to think that when I first heard about this program, I was trying to avoid it, but it really speaks about what a personal advocate is. It's real personal and based on what you need that will help you have a healthy birth outcome and a slightly less stressful life. Thank you.
Thank you.
One other thing about Jamala, when she came to us and she said she interviewed and didn't get it right away, we recognized she came at a time when we were having all this turnover and challenges. And we recognized that it wouldn't have been a good time for her to come in. We felt that she would really need a strong foundation and that mentorship for her. We knew she was a great advocate off the bat. We saw that in her, just in her coming to our monthly meetings and us getting to know her on that level. We knew that she was going to make a great advocate, but we needed to have our ducks in order first before we brought her on. And when the time was appropriate, we did reach out to her, and she was still available. We brought her on, and she's been awesome. One of the things that she was really instrumental in was our outreach effort. She came up with really using the social media to connect with moms in a different way, and that has been really useful to us. That is one of the key things that's helped us see that 262% increase that we saw. But thank you. So with that, if you have any questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes all the presentations.
All right, very good. That's a lot to take in.
Thank you, everyone, for listening and
I was going to save this for Commissioner comments, which I guess we can just go into now. But what I would like from the appropriate staff, I suppose, is I'd like to have all the information here bound alongside this, and the reason, and probably half dozen bound copies. And the reason being is I'm actually attending a 3-day conference in Dallas this week through the National Association of Counties. It's actually a poverty summit along with the full board of directors meeting. Much of the agenda is dedicated to child welfare and early education and health disparities. So I think that's very relevant that I would have some of this information available to share with perhaps the appropriate NACO folks. Again, I think we need to start kind of telling our story about this multifaceted effort that we've heard so much about this afternoon, and do so nationally. So I'd like to have that in hand before I leave on Wednesday. Thanks. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you. I wanted to just thank staff for putting on this presentation. I thought it was just an excellent summation of all the work that has gone into a tremendous effort to reduce African American health equity disparities. And so I think it was a great job listening to the community, listening to their testimony and what they're doing. You know, it makes me very proud to be a part of that as a part of the, from a commissioner standpoint. So I thank you very much for doing that. Thank you for your taking the time from your day and come here and tell us your story. I appreciate that. I also think that I want to just switch gears a little bit, because I think at the same time I'd urge our staff in some way to communicate. My organization, California Dental Association, has encouraged our dentists to reach out to their state or their national senators and congressmen because of the Children's Health Information Insurance Program, CHIPS. It's still not authorized. This is, provides affordable pediatric health coverage to nearly 9 million children nationwide, and over 2 million children and pregnant women here in California. So CHIP coverage provides important preventive services, well baby checkups, immunizations, dental care, medical care, and this is California. They're talking about somewhere around budget deficit adding up to $1 billion in lost revenue if we don't have this. And it was supposed to be funded in September 30th, still not funded. The National Congress is still debating it, dithering with it. We have forms at the California Dental Association that we're sending to every one of our 25,000 members, asking them just to sign it, send it to their congressman, make sure they get it done. I'd encourage us, maybe with our provider list, to do the same.
Sure. Can you send it to me?
Sure, I'll work
with
you.
That'd be perfect.
Commissioner Wirtz?
Just to be brief, this has been a very great presentation throughout, and I really love to see the intertwined and synergistic aspects of all of these programs working together, and it's been so useful for me, and I think for our audiences, to see the level of work that gets translated into each and every one of your individual efforts, and we value that so highly. So I really appreciate that as well. I just have then a technical question about whether this document is finalized, or is this being presented today for the commission? Or I know that I had made several sort of suggestions about some changes before it's finalized.
We can make those changes, certainly.
Okay.
Commissioners may not know that how it comes together, and it looks so easy to put together a presentation like this, but the evaluation committee, and especially Commissioner Wirtz, has just been so critical in reviewing the data as it comes through, helping us all understand what it means and what the real impact is, what we're allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say, and keeping us all in line. I really do appreciate your feedback so much, and Linda's work and pulling all the different pieces together to bring this to you today. We'll definitely run the final version by evaluation committee one last time and make sure it looks good before we get Phil's copies out to him.
You'll be busy the next couple of days.
Yeah, we will.
Just related to that, I think the presentation today did incorporate all of that, and I think it was an incredible presentation, and I really value that.
Perfect.
Okay, other comments from commissioners? All right. If there's no further business before this commission, we are adjourned, and happy holidays to everyone.
Happy holidays.